Chapter 41. Powerful and Overbearing. Why? Yi Chen will continue to fight. Seeing Yi Chen ready for the war again, the waves of surprise below were full of surprises. The anger is imprisoned, and it will undoubtedly be defeated. It seems to be struggling. It's all in vain. I see how long you can sustain it. Chi Hao on the stage became fierce, and volley smashed a sharp sword. Yi Chen had already retreated. When he retreated, he pulled out the Tianjian épée that was inserted on the battle platform. L.B. Chi Hao's sword Qi split on the heavens and sparked. Without real body protection, Yi Chen's arms were sore from the shock, then a sweet throat and blood spit out. Die. Chi Hao's body was flying, and in a blink of an eye, a sword pierced the air again. Surprisingly, Yi Chen did not dodge. Puff. It was splattered blood again, and Yi Chen's body was pierced. And at this moment, once again grasped the killing sword with flesh and blood, and the right fist came up again. Only this time, Chi Hao was well prepared, raised his palm gently, and held Yi Chen's fist. Yi Chen, who was really imprisoned, did not have any attack power in his eyes. It's too weak. Chi Hao smiled, and Yi Chen trembled with one palm and backed out. Are you still dead this time? Zhen retreated from Yi Chen, and Chi Hao was about to kill with his ****** sword. However, just after taking a step, his expression changed suddenly. He clearly felt a powerful force burst into his body, imprisoning him strongly. How is this possible? He looked at the heavenly charm that was about to fit into his body, unbelievably. Yi Chen also has the Tianling curse. Tianling curse is extremely precious. Can he afford it? It's over. Chi Hao has also been hit by the Tianling curse. It's beautiful. Shang could not help but whine, and the excited little meat fist clenched tightly. Where did he come from the Tianling curse? Su Xinyue was frightened, and apparently Yi Chen also had the Tianling curse, which completely exceeded his expectation. This is impossible, Chi Hao growled on the stage. I said, no one knows who was born or who was dead. A few feet away, Yi Chenying stood up and looked at Chi Hao with a sneer. How can you have the Tianling curse? Chi Hao's eyes were blood red, staring at Yi Chen. Is this important? Yi Chen slowly sneered, the important thing is that it's fair now. You're not angry, I'm not angry, the real battle has just begun. Hearing that, Chi Hao stepped back subconsciously. Yes, he was not angry. So, is he still Yi Chen's opponent? Thinking of Yi Chen's domineering melee combat, Chi Hao still has panic in his eyes. He has relied too much on Qi in recent years. He has practiced the most basic tactics of combat. Without Qi, where is his opponent? War. Yi Chen yelled loudly, stepped out, and shot out like a shell. Seeing this, Chi Hao hurriedly retreated. Can you escape? The cold voice followed the wind. Yi Chen had already killed him, and he waved with a punch. The instinct of the human body allows Chi Hao to block. However, he could not escape the suppression of Yi Chen's overbearing close fight again. What? It doesn't help that he growls. However, just as Yi Chen displayed his mighty power, a disciple in white of Ren Yangfeng suddenly hit the stage. The disciple in white is not high, but he has a good plan, knowing that Yi Chen is really imprisoned at this moment, and his strength is greatly reduced. He wants to take this opportunity to destroy Yi Chen. Dead. The disciples in white looked grim and pushed out with one palm, never leaving anything behind. 4 keys, do you deserve it? With a cold sigh, Yi Chen kicked Chi Haoju out, then suddenly turned around, an ape jumped, and escaped the power of the white disciple. A slapstick shot by a disciple in white. The disciples below were surprised for a while. Even if they were imprisoned, Yi Chen was still fierce and abnormal. What? In the shock, Yi Chen had already dragged one leg of the disciple in white and smashed it on the battle platform fiercely. Yi Chen's mind, as early as the moment when Qi was imprisoned, he expected Ren Yangfeng's disciples to make a surprise attack. Fortunately, the disciples Yang Feng who came to help in Fengyuntai this time, except Su Xinyue, was the 9th weight of Ningqi, and most of them were less than 5 weights, which is completely within the scope that Yi Chen can handle. A thin camel is larger than a horse. Yi Chen belongs to this group of people. Although he is really imprisoned, his actual combat ability is still there, and with his domineering flesh, not everyone can despise him. After all, those disciples are not Chi Hao. What? There was another scream. The disciple in white was smashed by Yi Chen on the battle platform again. All the internal organs of the body were shifted, so that the hard battle platform was smashed into a human figure. He doesn't have anger. Come together. With a loud shout, the disciples of Ren Yangfeng below, except Su Xinyue, rushed to the battlefield. My grass! The bear on the stage saw it instantly and was furious. He ran out of his mace, and rushed to the platform. He just lifted his feet, and consciously took it back. Because, Yi Chen on the battle platform is fighting the might. He held one leg of the fainted disciple in white with one hand, using him as a weapon, and throbbed frantically. Anyone who discarded the disciple Yangfeng who came forward was flew out on the spot. At the scene, such a scene appeared. Ren Yangfeng's disciples flew up from the platform like sandbags. Wow! Shang shouted. It's too fierce. The disciples around swallowed subconsciously. What? With a subsequent scream, a disciple of Yang Feng was kicked out of Dan Tian by Yi Chen on the spot. Yi Chen. Under the stage, Su Xinyue sternly said, "Don't you be afraid of Jia Lutang's sins if you hurt the same disciples." Muting the same disciples, Yi Chen was covered with blood, his eyes were red, and he stared at Su Xinyue, drinking. Fighting against each other, except for the two sides of the battle, no third person is involved. This is a historical door rule. I killed them on the spot, and the commandment church has no right to rule my sin. Quote. You, was scolded again, Su Xinyue's face flushed. It's your man, Yang Feng, who despised the door regulations first, and can't blame me. Yi Chen's voice was trembling, extremely cold. Said, Yi Chen turned around suddenly, and Chi Hao, who had just climbed up, was stunned by one palm. Seeing this, Su Xinyue's eyes flashed a cold light, and she was about to rush to the stage. Su Xinyue is right. I advise you to be obedient, otherwise the arrow of the wind will not recognize anyone. Shang Er's voice sounded. The mace in this hand has been replaced with a longbow. At this moment, the longbow is like a full moon, and there is a terrifying Chi arrow that screams. Once Su Xinyue dares to take office, this Chi arrow will also be in the first time to shoot. Upon seeing this, Su Xinyue looked for a moment, feeling the cold air from the Chi arrow. She determined that if she acted rashly, she would be pierced with an arrow. Thinking this way in her heart, she took a deep breath, and just took the steps she had just taken back. That's right, Shang sneered, and then did not forget to glance at the disciples below, and scolded, I don't want to target anyone, I'm honest, otherwise don't blame me for being cruel. As soon as this remark came out, those disciples who were eager to move were all really angry and did not dare to act rashly. On the stage, Yi Chen had already collected Chi Hao's storage bags, and then searched all over him, but all valuable treasures were taken away by him. He still left a little face for Chi Hao, otherwise, with his past nature, Chi Hao will surely wipe out his whole body. After doing this, Yi Chenyu got off the stage and walked outside. As she passed by Su Xinyue, Yi Chen glanced at her frosty cheek and sneered, Sister Su, you are not covering up the black and white effort. I am ashamed of my brother. You, Su Xinyue just wanted to say something, but Yi Chen had flung away and walked away. The disciples in front and on both sides gave a tacit understanding to make way for Yi Chen. Today's battle, the climax is over, and shocking, Chi Hao in the human realm was defeated by a strong force. Even the disciples Yang Feng who came to help, except Su Xinyue, were all lying down. After today, I am afraid no one will dare to stubbornly disciple Yi Chen. Go. After Yi Chen left, Shang also took all the bets, patted his butt, and disappeared. After he left, those disciplineless disciples woke up like dreams, always feeling a little less. What? Soon, Feng Yuntai heard the sound of ghosts crying. Lao Su's spirit stone. That's all my possessions. 10 years of hard work, one before returning to liberation. Chapter 42, Speed Shadow Thousand Fantasy. In the Battle of Feng Yuntai, Yi Chen became famous outside the door. An internship student in Ningxijing lost a total of 3 main peak students in a row in January, including a person's realm, which is bound to become a long-lasting legend. Night, Tianyang Peak. Zhang Laodao clung to his heart fiercely, and missed a genius-like disciple, which hurt his heart. Diong Peak. Zhe Hong's mouth sneered, Qingyang Laoer, compared to my Di Yangfeng, your Yangfeng has lost even more. People Yang Feng. Qi Hao has woke up and growled like a mad dog, kill, kill, I want to kill him. Noise. Qingyang's real man yelled, his face was blue, and he was somber and scary. I can't beat any condensate, I really teach you nothing. Master, it is Yi Chen that is too sinister. Su Xinyue said angrily. Don't say any more. In the next month, you'll all be on the mountain in peace, outside the door, you can stop, shame on me. Little Spirit Garden. Yi Chen has been working in the wild for more than 6 hours. In this duel, he was not injured lightly, and his body was full of scars, especially the 2 blood holes in his left shoulder and right chest. However, these injuries are nothing compared to the fire whistle in the commandment hall. Under the operation of the Baron refining body, his wounds recovered very quickly. When he walked out of the door, he was already alive and well. I depend. As soon as he stepped out of the door, Yi Chen heard a howling voice. Yi Chen found out that in addition to the tiger baby and Zhang Fengnian in the Xiaoling garden, there was also a pile of fat. Oh no, it should be an individual. This person, needless to say, is Shang Is your kid a beast? Shang pounced on, inspected Yi Chen's body, and found that there were no scars, and he was stunned in shock. Here, Yi Chen stretched out his palm. Don't worry, you can't live without it. Shang gave Yi Chen a white look, knowing that Yi Chen was asking him for the spiritual stone he won. This time, after all, it is not a small number, Shang will not swallow it all up. Part of it is Yi Chen's contribution. Old rules, 5 or 5 minutes, 140,000. Shang handed a storage bag to Yi Chen. After receiving the storage bag, Yi Chen glanced inside, no more than exactly 40,000, and stuffed it into his arms. This time of the showdown really made him earn a fortune, 40,000 spirits, and among the disciples of Heng Yizong, he can definitely be on the rich list. Aside, Shang took a step forward, apparently had no intention of leaving, and whispered, Boy, have you ever been to the Nether Black Market? No. Yi Chen shook her head gently. Would you like to go there with me? Shang frowned and looked at Yi Chen. In a few days, the 9th Black Market's triennial auction will begin. I heard that there will be many treasures to be auctioned. Speaking, the uncle also took out his mace and said, See. No, this mace was taken at the last auction of Yudu Black Market, once every 3 years. If you miss it, wait again 3 years. Quote. But why do I hear that the place is not peaceful? Yi Chen touched his chin. Begging for wealth, Shang said hastily. Besides, during the auction, assassination is forbidden. Just go and see. If you see a ant finish it, just go away. How about it? Listening to Shang words, Yi Chen touched his chin again. Go and see. Okay, that's it. I'll go get some snow magnolia flowers again. I'll see you tomorrow, in the old place. Shang jumped up and patted his asterisk and ran out of the little spirit garden. After Shang left, Yi Chen locked himself in the house again. First, he placed the Zijin gourd on the bedside to swallow up the heaven and earth, and then took out Chi Ha's storage bag. Opening the storage bag, Rao was Yi Chen's constant force, and couldn't help whispering. Chi Hao is not a young talent who cultivates the family. He has high hopes from the family and is cultivated by Qingyang real people. The treasures in this storage bag are not ordinary rich. First of all, there are only 30,000 spirit stones in the storage bag. Secondly, there are all kinds of psychic fluids in the storage bags. There are nourishing meridians, those with longevity, and those with physical fitness. They are really rich. Furthermore, there are many spirit grasses and artifacts in the storage bag. Many of them have never been seen before. They are definitely precious. As for the artifacts, they are all of good quality, and some are even comparable to his Qishao sword. In the end, there was only a solitary broken tortoise shell in the storage bag. This tortoise shell, under the candlelight, Yi Chen carefully looked at the tortoise shell in his hand. The surface of the tortoise shell is mottled and the size is only the size of a slap. There are a few unreadable runes visible on it. The whole body still has an indescribable feeling, like the vicissitudes of ancient atmosphere. It was this ancient spirit that attracted Yi Chen. But as Yi Chen secretly pondered, the purple gold gourd on the bedside trembled. Before Yi Chen responded, the ancient tortoise shell was sucked away from him, the purple gold gourd mouth vortex widened, and the tortoise shell was swallowed directly. "What's your situation?" Yi Chen hurriedly grabbed Zijin's small gourd and looked inside. Yi Chen was surprised to find that after being swallowed by the Zijin gourd, the tortoise shell was melted by a strange force in the gourd, and finally turned into a breath. This scene made Yi Chen startled. Suddenly, the purple gold gourd trembled again, and the gas that the tortoise shell turned into was sprayed out by its brain, and it was poured into Yi Chen's eyes without any bias. Wow! Yi Chen only felt his eyes black, and his head roared. I don't know how long it took before Yi Chen shook her head and opened her eyes. However, his eyes became strange. If you look carefully, you can see lines of small words passing by in his eyes. Shadow, thousands of magic. The speed is infinite, it is like a shadow, it is infinite, it is fantasy. With Yi Chen muttering, he closed his eyes again and fell into a wonderful state. There was silence in the room, only swaying candlelight. I do not know when. Yi Chen stood on the ground, and took a step gently. Although this step is ordinary, there is something more in the bottom. After stepping out, Yi Chen didn't stop. He was like a sleepwalker, with a slow pace, walking around the house constantly, sometimes walking forward, sometimes backing inexplicably. I don't know how long. There was a rapid flow of air under his feet, and his striding speed accelerated accordingly, and there was still an afterimage behind him. Time slipped away inadvertently. Yi Chen left in the room overnight. When the dawn came, Yi Chen stepped out as the door suddenly opened, walking in the garden wantonly, sometimes like Xuanwu Tuolu, with steady steps, sometimes like a breeze, coming and going. Every step of him has an unspeakable spirit, and the mystery of the body makes people unable to figure it out. The speed is too fast, and it makes people unable to keep up with the rhythm. I don't know when Yi Chen stopped slightly. His eyes slowly opened, but his eyes flashed with ecstasy. The speed of promise is like the shadow, the infinite is infinite, the fantasy is imaginary, well, a good speed and magic. Chapter 43, Hengyu 3 Charms. Receiving the breath, Yi Chen ran back to the house. When he came to the bed again, Yi Chen took the purple gold gourd in his arms and wiped it constantly. Baby, what a baby. Yi Chen closed her mouth with a smile, and secretly said that her more than 1,000 spirit stone flowers that day were really worth it. He has figured out that the ancient tortoise shell contains the mysterious body magic of Shouying Qianwan, which is captured by the Zijin gourd, so the tortoise shell is swallowed into it, and the mystery is refined. What the asterisk are you? You still have this ability. Holding Zijin's small gourd, Yi Chen looks more and more like it, and thinks more joyfully. The purple gold gourd can not only swallow the heavens and earth into or liquid, but also capture the hidden mystery in the unknown, which makes Yi Chen feel the amazing origin of this purple gold gourd even more. How do I feel like I'm making a fortune? Yi Chen touched his chin. My real fire can sense the baby, and this purple gold gourd can capture the mystery hidden in the baby. This is about to send it. Thinking about this in his heart, Yi Chen scooped out an unusually looking spirit bead from the storage bag, and then stuffed it into the purple gold gourd directly to see if the purple gold gourd could find something out of the spirit beads. Was suddenly filled with a spiritual bead. The purple gold gourd buzzed, and spit it out on the spot. It looks like an ordinary spirit bead. Yi Chen groaned, then pulled out a small dagger and stuffed it into the small gourd. For the first time, he spit it out on the spot. None of this. After receiving the small dagger, Yi Chen took out the objects one after another, or the spirit jade, or the spirit implement, and tried one by one. In the end, Yi Chen stuffed a small jade bottle glowing in it. Click! Suddenly, the purple gold gourd crushed the small jade bottle directly into fly ash, and then sprayed the fly ash directly. Yi Chen suddenly stumbled. The Zijin gourd trembled fiercely, as if to protest again, as if to say, "You shit, try another." Seeing this, Yi Chen could not help but twitch. He can see it clearly. The Zijin gourd has the ability to capture the mystery of the baby, but only the things it actively swallows, just like those useless things, stuffed into the white stuff. Moreover, he also saw that Zijin's small gourd is spiritual. He was convinced that if there were no more stuff in the mess, he would be crushed by a small gourd on the spot. Small thing, not bad temper. Although Yi Chen scolded her, she took the small gourd into her arms. This is a treasure. After a simple breakfast, Yi Chen hurriedly walked out of the Shaolingyuan. When the two got to the cave in Haoshan, Shang was lying in his sleep, and drooling all over the floor. The whole big character, the whole body piled up with fat, was a hoe. Kiki. Yi Chen coughed, and Shang didn't respond at all. Seeing this, Yi Chen went up and kicked him. Little fat man, get up and work. For the first time, the uncle was still awake. Huh. Yi Chen whispered, why is that woman undressed? As soon as the words came out, the two sleeping Shang a spirit jumped out. Where? Where? This trick really works, Yi Chen said meaningfully. You shit. Knowing being played, Shang stared at Yi Chen with a stern curse. Don't fix these useless. Hurry up, the spirit grass is not here, we don't have much time. I work, you can rest assured. Shang reached into his crotch on the spot, and then pulled out a storage bag. Lao Su took 9 cattle and 2 tigers to get it. Cut. Yi Chen disagreed, but when he opened the storage bag, he was stunned on the spot. The number of spirit grass inside was more than 3 times the previous time. Your kid is ruthless. Yi Chen sighed and looked at Shang Yi. You take so much, your old uncle agrees. Don't agree. Then how did you get it? I found my auntie. Shang yanked his nose, and added something to their meals. Add something. Yi Chen raised an eyebrow. What? Acacia disperses. As soon as this statement was made, Rao was Yi Chen's constant force, and he could not help twitching the corners of his mouth. He had to give Shang a thumbs up. Niu Ting. An episode passed and the two started again. Yi Chen is still presiding over the refining, while Shang is busy slaying. Soon, refreshing medicinal aromas emerged from the cave. Yi Chen naturally did not waste these overflowing strong medicinal fragrances. As early as when he started to refine the jade lingering liquid, he scooped out the Zijin small gourd. What the asterisk is this baby, and he can swallow up his aura by himself. Shang squatted on the ground, his 2 eyes turning slowly. Don't watch, come and help. Because Yi Chen's method of refining the jade liquid was getting more and more proficient, this time refining the jade liquid 3 times more than the last time, and the two took only 6 days. At night, the two lay on the ground like dead pigs. After 6 days of crazy refining, the two became tired of dogs. Departure tomorrow. Go to Wanbao Pavilion in advance to get something useful, understand? Shang while stuffing a bottle of Yuling liquid into his storage bag, ordered Yi Chen. Useful things. Yi Chen couldn't help looking at it, and asked tentatively, you mean? Heavenly spell and heavenly spell. Yi Chen's eyes flashed when he heard these names. The 3 major spells of Heng Yizong, Tianling Charm, Tianxing Charm, and Tianlei Charm. Tianling Curse is the main seal, which can imprison the monk's anger for a short time. Tianxing Curse escapes, which can instantly increase the speed of the user. Tianlei Curse main attack, the power is very strong, has the power of blasting mountains. The 3 major charms of Heng Yizong have their own advantages and complement each other. There will be unexpected gains. The preciousness of them is also astounding. Wanbao Pavilion also sells these 3 charms. Yi Chen asked looking at Shang Sell, of course. Tianling Curse 10,000 Spirit Stones, Tianxing Curse 30,000 Spirit Stones. As for the Thunder Curse, 90,000 Spirit Stones are needed, but this day the Thunder Curse is too powerful and is forbidden in Hengyizong. But it works outside. Quote, my mother is obedient, who can afford it? Yi Chen could not help but secretly swallowed. Hengyu Zongweiman crouching tigers and hiding dragons are many, and many of them are from the cultivating family. They are rich. Yi Chen thought about it too. Just yesterday, he also unearthed 30,000 spirit stones in Chi Hao's storage bag. Other disciples of the family who are not exposed to mountains and water must be rich in oil. Although these spells are expensive, they are very practical. Shang said, this is a must-have for going out. The critical moment is to save my life. I care more about my life than the spirit stone. This is true. Yi Chen agreed with Shang Er's point of view. No matter how many spirit stones there are, his life is gone. He had already secretly decided to go to Wanbao Pavilion again before going to the Nether Black Market. He couldn't afford the Sky Thunder curse, and the whole 2 Sky Spirit curses and Sky Movement curses would still be okay. At night, the two left Haoshan. Shang Er went to Lingsao Garden, and Yi Chen went to Wanbao Pavilion. Chapter 44. Ginger is old and spicy. The night sky is deep, and broken stars are like dust. Yi Chen came to Wanbao Pavilion again, and it turned out that Hazeheng hummed quer and drank small wine by himself. Yo, someone really comes to buy things in the middle of the night. Seeing the business, the huge sea hemp stood up, his eyes were as bright as ever. The elders are so interested. Yi Chen smiled and handed a storage bag up. The elders help me estimate and see how much the contents can hold. The huge sea took the storage bag, opened it and glanced inside, and looked at Yi Chen again. This is all grabbed from Shi Hao. Yi Chen coughed, touched the tip of his nose, and nodded. Looking back, the huge sea pulled out a small abacus from her arms, and then counted each item in the storage bag. In the end, he put down the abacus and squeezed his mustache to groan. Then 3 fingers were raised. 30,000 is too small. Yi Chen poked his lips, secretly not using money urgently. He would not sell these babies. 33, it can't be more. Da Hai Hai said without forgetting to glance at Yi Chen, but it was obviously not a posture to be sold on Yi Chen's face. Seeing this, the huge sea asked tentatively, why not 32,000? No more. Yi Chen immediately received the storage bag. Although he was not very sensitive to the price, Shi Hao's storage bag was more than 32,000, and only the extraordinary magical tools were more than this price. Seeing Yi Chen leaving, the huge sea hurriedly grabbed Yi Chen. Don't go. No, let's add it. 5,000. Yi Chen directly quoted the price. The huge sea of 38,000 is not vegetarian, and desperately bargained. Make you 2,000, 48. 40,000, no more. Elder, you are also ruthless. 47, at this price, otherwise. Deal. Unexpectedly, the huge sea interrupted Yi Chen's words on the spot. To be lower. Yi Chen's mouth twitched, and the secret road was fooled by the huge sea. Come here, 47,000, no more, you. The smirk on the face of the huge sea shoved a storage bag into Yi Chen's arms, for fear that Yi Chen would repent. Yi Chen simply pushed back, give me 3 Tianling curses and 1 Tianxing curse. That won't work, it's still 3,000. Da Hai Hai then quit. Then I won't sell it. Hey, you little bunny. The huge sea was about to explode on the spot, but still piled up with a wretched smile. So, if you add another 2,000, I will give you 1,000 cheap stones. What? I'll give you 500 at most. After being fooled once, Yi Chen also learned to be smart and bargained for death. Closing. Unexpectedly, Da Ma Hai promised him again. Ouch I go. Yi Chen couldn't help but slap his hands slap hard. Is it high again? Ginger is still old and spicy. Yi Chen Mu worked hard to get the price down, but he still couldn't play the huge sea. It seems that this old thing can be an elder of Wanbao Pavilion. Tianling curse 3, Tianxing curse 1, take it. This time the huge sea shoved 4 spirit charms into Yi Chen's arms. Then, the Raimi slipped away Yi Chen's storage bag. Yi Chen, with a black face, shoved the 4 amulets into a storage bag. Elder, don't walk in the pit at night. Hey you scumbag. On the side, before the huge sea exploded, Yi Chen ran out of Wanbao Pavilion. It was late at night to return to the little spirit garden. Hum, hum. In the small garden, all the sounds of iron rods hitting the air. The tiger baby was not asleep, and he was still working hard. The black iron rods were used well in his hands, although he was awkward, but he was gradually becoming proficient. Shu Shihu was so trained that he returned unconsciously. Yi Chen didn't bother. He walked towards his room silently. When he entered the house, he also looked at the sweaty tiger baby. Stick, tiger baby may be destined to accompany it. Talking, Yi Chen stepped into the door. There was nothing to say all night, and then dawn. The next day, just after dawn, Yi Chen walked out of the Xiaoling garden. At the foot of the mountain, Shang Er appeared in no particular order. Today's Shang in addition to the flower pants on the lower body and the vest on the upper body, has one more thing on his body, which is a bright goggle hanging on his chest, shining with restrained light. Let's rent a spirit bird and fly over. Yi Chen looked at the sky. That wouldn't work, Shang vetoed immediately. The strong are all flying in the sky. Sitting on a spirit bird flying in the sky is very unsafe. Listen to me, it's much safer on the ground than in the sky. Talking, Shang pulled out 2 charms from his crotch. Thousands of runes. Yi Chen's eyes flashed, as if he knew the amulet, and even knew the ability of the amulet. Once used, he could travel thousands of miles a day. Oh, you know the Xing Fu. Shang was a little surprised. Have heard it. Shang didn't ask again, and handed 1,000 lines of amulets to Yi Chen. Put them on your legs and infuse them with vitality. Be sure to grasp the direction. This amulet is very fast. Don't hit the mountain. Look at what you said. Yi Chen waved and stuck the charm on his leg. Immediately, he divided into a stream of qi to pour into it, and Ling Fu instantly glowed, and the lines were submerged. Ha! Yi Chenu's flight that was still in place the last moment rushed out. After Shang Erbala, Cheng Hong followed Yi Chen's footsteps like Cheng Hong. The sudden increase in speed made Yi Chen a bit uncomfortable, and he was the first time to use 1,000 lines. This 1,000-line character is pretty good. While grasping the direction, Yi Chen said with a smile. The ears were full of whistling winds. Although the speed of these 1,000 lines of charms was not as fast as that of Su Ying Qian magic, the energy consumed was much less than that of Su Ying Qian magic. Ha, hey, the shadows of the 2 kept on disappearing all the way, and behind them was a billowing dust. Galloping overnight, the 2 rushed into a barren forest. It will be another hour, Shang asked about time and distance. I have smelled the ****** gas. Yi Chen groaned. Relax, it's okay, is there a brother? Shang chubby little hand patted Yi Chen. Be careful. Just listening to Yi Chen's sudden sound, he grabbed Shang with one hand, and then quickly backed away. Boom. The 2 had just left, and the area they had just stepped into was exploded. Suddenly, the rubble collapsed, and the large and thick trees around fell down, and even the earth was blown out of a deep hole the size of 3 feet. Grass. Seeing this, Shang shouted immediately. If Yi Chen had not responded quickly before, they would be blown out on the spot. His mother, whoever killed Qiandao set a trap here. Shang shouted and yelled. Yi Chen's eyes narrowed, back to back with Shang and he looked around vigilantly. He had trouble not long after he came out, and he couldn't help worrying about the safety of the voyage. Rustle, rustle, soon, in the dark night, there was a gurgling noise, a cold wind came, and there was blood. I can escape my trap of trapping formations, and look down on you. With a sneer of laughter, a big man came out with a ghostly sword. The man was naked with arms spread, shaved hair, sunken eyes, blood-red eyes, and a scar on his face, full of tyrannical gas, plus the fierce face. It was not good at first sight. True son. Feeling the breath revealed by the big man, Yi Chen and Shang faces became ugly for a moment. Bring the storage bag, I can make you die happier. The big man came slowly with his big knife, and his tyrannical spirit was even better. The large and heavy knife was faint and cold. Seeing this, Shang glanced at Yi Chen. Do it. Chapter 45. 2 Beasts. Go. Yi Chen nodded gently when asked about Shang. It would be strange if this was heard without shock. The 2 goods have a condensed atmosphere, 1 yuan per person, and 1 realm, and they have to fight with Junyang. If it is a high-level true sun environment, the 2 goods will open as soon as possible. However, although the breath of the big man is strong, it is very unstable. At first glance, it just broke through to Junyang. Yi Chen and Shang are naturally not afraid of a real world that has just broken through. Robbery. With Shang howling, the kit kicked off the ground like a cannonball. Robbing. Yi Chen also gave a terrified whistle, followed Shang and killed him. Seeing this, Big Han suddenly hesitated. Suddenly, Shang mace came to Ling Tian. Looking for death. The Han's face turned grim, and he patted it with his palms. However, in his eyes, the mace that Ling Tian had smashed suddenly became 5 times larger, knowing that it was a mace, but did not know that Ling Tian had smashed a big tree. Boom. Because I never expected that the mace would suddenly become larger, and Shang was just a human realm, making the big man too undervalued, so that the smashed body was crippled and the entire palm became bloody. However, despite hurting the big man, Shang was also stunned and retreated. The big man was furious, and as soon as he was about to take a shot, Yi Chen killed him. Look for death, angrily sounded. Dayan pushed out. Yi Chen coldly hummed. A sudden burst of real fire burst into his hands, turned into a long whip of flame, and he was thrown out fiercely. Snapped. Such a voice sounded. Dayan's face was thrown a dark blood mark on the spot. Really? Roar. When the big man was surprised, the tiger's roar rang. Yi Chen cast a tiger pounce on the mystery of the beast's anger, and immediately bullied him in front of the big man. He is like a beast going down the mountain, and the way out of the gloves is even weird. Sometimes like a tiger, sometimes a fierce ape, sometimes a lion, sometimes like a wolf, grabbing, patting, tearing, hands, feet, knees, shoulders, each one the joints are all fierce weapons. Because he never expected that such a domineering melee combat technique would occur in a condensed state, Dayan was beaten up. Yeah, Shang shouted, came with a mace, and worked with Yi Chen to fight against the Han, who was furious. However, after all, he is in the realm of the sun. Soon, he stopped the retreat and fanned it out. Ben Lei Palm. Dragon Tiger Boxing. Yi Chen and Shang came up one after another. Boom. The fists collided and roared. The palm of Junyang was truly terrifying, and he vomited blood from Yi Chen and Shang to back. The gap is not so big. Yi Chen sighed and sighed in his heart. Although he had the strength of a leapfrog, he was still in the face of absolute suppression. You're all going to die. The Big Han was so embarrassed by the freakish kid that Big Han suddenly became angry. Who doesn't have to die? Yi Chen sneered. Boy, it's beautiful. On one side, Shang and Yi Chen stood side by side, giving thumbs up to Yi Chen. You are not bad. How is this? The shock of the big man sounded immediately at the scene, his powerful momentum quickly dissipated, and his full body of anger returned to peace. Only then did he find that a spell had been affixed to him, and there were still two. Tian Ling Mantra. The big man was startled, as if he knew the Tian Ling Mantra. He is in the realm of the sun, and the two Tianling curses can only imprison him for about a minute. Shang said to Yi Chen. Then take his life while he is ill. Get started. Just return to the quiet barren forest, because Yi Chen and Shang the two wolf rumors were broken. Seeing this, the big man changed his look, and while backing away, he was violently impacting the imprisonment of the Tianling curse. He knew that he could defeat the victory by only supporting it for a minute. But how could Yi Chen and Shang give him time? Ben Lei Palm. Dragon Tiger Boxing. Knowing that time is life, the two did not dare to keep their hands, and the powerful mystery fell on the big man without a cap. Puff. When the blood glowed, Yi Chen waved the Qishao sword, almost splitting Han Hansheng. The big man vomited blood and retreated, but before stopping his shape, Shang who leapt forward and smashed it. The mace became 5 times bigger when it fell, instilling all of Shang true energy. No. Seeing the mace smashing, the big man growled in horror. How could he think that since he was a monk in the realm of the realm, he would be killed by a condensed spirit and a realm of human beings, so that many mysteries could not be performed in the future? However, as Ren Dayan howls, neither Yi Chen nor Shang will have compassion at this moment. Come out mixed, always have to pay back. To be merciful to the enemy is to be cruel to oneself. If they do not kill the big man will surely kill them after breaking through the imprisonment. This is the world of monks, cruel. Boom. As the mace fell, the whole earth shuddered. When the clouds of smoke disappeared, Yi Chen and Shang came forward together, and the big man in the real state of the sun almost smashed into a pile. This place shouldn't stay long. The two started to take away the big Han's storage bag, and all valuables were searched and cleaned. After doing this, the two disappeared. After the two left, an old man in a purple robe came out in the dark night. There is a real fire. Looking at the direction where Yi Chen and Shang left, he gently scratched his beard. Yi Chen and Shang appeared again, deep in the barren forest. It took the two of them an hour to recover their injuries, and then they took out Han's storage bag and his baby. Ouch I go. Suddenly, the sound of surprise between the two people began to sound. It's worthy of being a real son. It's rich. The two celestial curses are not wasted. Old rules, 5 or 5. The two heads were on their heads, squatting on the ground and sharing the booty. In Han's storage bag, there are more than 100,000 spirit stones. It seems that he is going to the dark market to participate in the auction. He never thought about a small gutter overturning the boat. After the trivial things of spirit stone, spirit fluid and spirit grass were divided up by Yi Chen and Shang there was only a ghost knife on the ground, 2 scrolls and a small tripod the size of a baby's fist. At this moment, the real fire beat, let Yi Chen's eyes light up, swept over the 2 scrolls and the ghost-headed sword, and finally his eyes fell on that little tripod. This is baby. Yi Chen's eyes flashed a fine light. I want this sword. I want this little tripod. The words of the two were in no particular order. After speaking, the two looked at each other, good brother. In the end, there were only 2 scrolls left, and each of them picked up one. Shake the mountain fist. Shang glanced at the name on the scroll, and then stunned the copy in Yi Chen's hand and asked, "What is yours?" "What is this?" Yi Chen grinned, staring at the ancient scroll in his hand. Chapter 46. Ghost Black Market. Aphrodisiac cheats, Yi Chen said, her lips twitching. Cheats for aphrodisiac. Shang heard, his eyes suddenly flashed. Come here, let's change. Shang grabbed it on the spot, and then stuffed his copy into Yi Chen. Yi Chen's mouth twitched again. Hey, that's good. Shang looked down and looked at it with gusto. He laughed while watching, but he never noticed the disgusting look in Yi Chen's eyes. Wonderful. Yi Chen rubbed his eyebrows, and he focused on the mystery of shaking mountain boxing. After a cursory look, Yi Chen found that this shaking mountain boxing and the Ben Lei Palm have the same purpose. Both are mysteries of the main attack, and they have high physical requirements, otherwise they will necessarily be eaten back by the overbearing inner strength. After a brief rest for half an hour, the two went on the road again. This time, the two went smoothly. When the sky was full, the two stopped in front of a vast and dark earth. Well, that's the Ghost Black Market. Shang pointed to the front. Needless to say, Yi Chen is already staring at the black earth in the distance. The Nether Black Market occupies an area of dozens of miles, like a piece of scorched earth, all covered in dimness. Before entering, he smells the blood, brutality, and coldness coming on. Gone. Shang had dragged Yi Chen into the Nether Black Market. As soon as he walked in, Yi Chen felt a weird and powerful force, so that he was so strong that he was crushed by the power. What's the situation? Yi Chen couldn't help looking at Shang. No need to make a fuss, Shang said. Every auction comes, a strong prohibition will be placed here, and everyone who comes in here will be suppressed to the point of condensate. Even the strong underworld will be suppressed. Yi Chen tentatively looked at Shang. No exception. It's so powerful. Yi Guang blinked. Yi Chen couldn't help but be shocked. Who is it? Tian Zan Men, Shang said, not forgetting to point to the side of the Nether Black Market. Yi Chen looked at the situation, and found that the most central place of the Nether Black Market, another pavilion suspended in the air, dozens of feet away from the ground, the majestic atmosphere of the pavilion, like a symbol, cannot tolerate any invasion. Over such a long distance, Yi Chen seemed to feel a terrifying pressure. What's the origin of Xuanmen that day? How have I never heard of Dachu in such a force? Yi Chen looked at Shang in amazement. Shang, who has always been omniscient, shook his head slightly this time. Listen to my old man, before the Hengyu Zongjian faction, Tianxuanmen was here. They do not belong to any martial art, but members of the gate, but it is mysterious and powerful, and I heard that their master is a monk in silence. Quote, Tian Jingjing. Yi Chen could not help but startled. 6 levels of monks, Ningxi, Renyuan, Zhenyang, Lingshu, Netherworld, Heavenly Silence, ascending to the sky step by step. Even the 3 major gates and the more powerful bloodthirsty temple have no heavenly monks, let Yi Chen how not to be shocked. Although they are located in the dark black market, they never get involved in the battle of this land, and they will only forbid killing here at auctions every 3 years. Shang said again. According to legend, the people of the bloodthirsty temple have come here to make troubles, but were defeated and returned home. Tianquanmen is like a symbol of this land. Whether it is a martial art or a family cultivation, they dare not challenge their majesty. Quote, Yi Chen didn't say anything, but just looked up at Xuanmen that day, eyes full of awe. Thinking to myself, the two continued to go deep. Yi Chen found that the monks who came and went here, although the breath was magnificent, but the repairs had been suppressed to the point of condensate, which had to make him sigh, no matter how strong you are outside, you are lying here. The deeper he went, the more Yi Chen booed. This ghostly black market is as chaotic as legend. He came along this way and saw a lot of pavilions and pavilions, but there were more collapsed houses, many places still had blood that had not dried up, and there were messes left over from the war. In addition, the people here are all sturdy, with fierce spirits, blood-red eyes, and brutality. Come here, take a look, and Lingxi Lingye is on sale. Do you want a magic weapon, Dao Yu? It's all good stuff. The two came to the bustling place, and there were cries of sales everywhere. There were stalls everywhere, and there were all kinds of things for sale. Fine and exquisite, Yi Chen saw a treasure placed on a booth, his eyes flashing with fiery light. Colorful blood crystals, red blood lotus. Along the way, Yi Chen continued to watch. How's it? Fresh enough. Shang twisted his fat body and walked forward, like a small Maitreya Buddha. Nima looked funny and attracted many eyes around him. It's quite fresh, Yi Chen hissed. Don't underestimate every stall owner here. Shang whispered, most of them are easy to tolerate, maybe one of them is the elder of one faction or the strong one who cultivates the family. This, I believe it. The auction will start tomorrow. We will just turn around, and it will be very lively at night here. Shang said. A chicken thigh came out from his crotch, and he ate without a face or skin. Then, with a faint whisper, his eyes became clear, and he seemed to see what he liked. You can turn around, I'll look over there. Shang said, and stuffed the leftover chicken leg back into the crotch, and then looked at it in one direction. Yi Chen looked around, and could not help but rub his eyebrows. There were a lot of people in that place. The inside and the outside were very lively. There was a sign standing there, the impotence tiger whip. Strange. Yi Chen froze his tongue, and secretly said that this nether black market really buys everything. Shang left, and Yi Chen was strolling around the stalls. He picks and chooses all the way, but in his heart he hopes that the real fire reminds him something, otherwise he really can't see which is a baby and which is a parallel. My friend, I'm all a baby. Don't regret not buying. There is no such stall after this village. Yi Chen listened to these crickets all the way. He was dazzled by the things on the booth. Many things he had never seen before, and many things he couldn't see through. Suddenly, Yi Chen stopped and looked away. There, a woman in white walked by, the blue silk floated, her clothes fluttered, like a blooming lotus flower. She is like a fairy who lives in the world for 9 days, and is not exposed to the world. Take a closer look at this person, isn't it Jining Shuang of Heng Yizong? Chapter 47, Tripod. She came here, too, looking at it from a distance, Yi Chen murmured, his beating heart hurting a bit. The former lover met here, so that he must not have the feeling of being alive. For Jining Shuang, he no longer loves, but he will not hate. The pain in his heart is only a brief moment. Suddenly, Yi Chen found a ghost head mask from his arms, covering his face. The figure spurred, Jining Shuang came with the flow of people. She is not alone, and she is followed by a leisurely young man, who is really personable, and the jade tree is in the wind, showing her grace and grace. Yi Chen recognized this man as Hua Yun, the #1 true disciple of Zhengyang Zong. Sister Ji, look elsewhere. Hua Yun shook the folding fan lightly, smiling as if spring breeze came, looking very comfortable. Jining Shuang looked calm, but did not refuse. Suddenly, she and Yi Chen passed by, and the former lover's reunion was the same. Yi Chen passed slowly, his steps were steady and powerful, and he did not turn back. I don't know when Shang found him. What are you doing with a mask? Shang looked at Yi Chen angrily. I just bought it, so good. Yi Chen took off his mask. The money burns a lot. Shang cursed, I'm gone. I've found a place to live. Let's take a rest first. The two came one after the other and came to the depths of the nether black market. In front of it are rows of pavilions, which are places for people to settle during the auction. Entering a suite, Shang locked himself in his room, and seemed to be studying his aphrodisiac. Don't make up for it. Yi Chen cursed and turned into his room. Locking the door of the room tightly, Yi Chen took out that little tripod. Xiao Ding seemed to have been buried underground for a long time, with mottled whole body, and bursts of ancient spirits coming forward. I don't know what mystery will be inside. Then, Yi Chen took out the Zijin small gourd and pulled out the gourd stopper. Suddenly, Zijin gourd trembled. Then, the small vortex reappeared, and a bottle of shouting was swallowed on the spot by the Zijin gourd. After swallowing the little tripod, the purple gold gourd buzzed and shook violently. Seeing this, Yi Chen's eyes became bright and clear. Even the purple gold gourd had such a big response. The hidden mystery in that little tripod must be extraordinary. What is mystery in the end? Rubbing his hands, Yi Chen couldn't hold back a bit, and looked into the small gourd. The purple gold gourd was full of refreshing spirits, and the little tripod was suspended above the spirit fluid, without trembling, without flashes of light, just like a quiet suspension. Yi Chen frowned slightly and continued to wait. It wasn't until 1 hour later that the Zijin gourd buzzed and spit out the little tripod. It was just that Yi Chen had not discovered that a moment before Xiao Ding was spit out, a drop of blood dripped from the ding and merged into the spiritual fluid in the small gourd. This is gone. Yi Chen didn't get the mystery of Dingzong. Yi Chen looked at Zijin's small gourd for a moment. Staring at Yi Chen, the Zijin small gourd is like nothing but everyone, still taking up the heaven and earth aura. She waved her purple gold gourd and Yi Chen picked up the little tripod from the ground. Xiao Ding still looks the same as before being swallowed. I don't believe it. Yi Chen cursed, her faith moved, and she immediately offered a real fire and rapped shouting. After an hour, Yi Chen received the real fire, sitting on the ground with a rump, panting heavily, and the little ding was still intact and was burned by Yi Chen for a long time without melting. What did you do that ignored the burning of real fire? Yi Chen held Xiao Ding and sighed. Even the real fire could not be melted to melt it. He was really high-tempered. Yeah, there was another scold in her heart. Yi Chen held the small purple gourd and raised her head with a few mouthfuls of spiritual fluid. Okay. The spiritual fluid flowed into his body like Wang Qingchuan flowed through his body as before, but what made Yi Chen inexplicable was that the spiritual fluid swallowed this time was a little different from usual, and he couldn't tell the difference. How could there be a strange feeling? Yi Chen tore off her collar, feeling a little hot. Soon, the blood in his body speeded up the circulation, even a little boiling, making his body feel more burned. Licking his dry lips, he picked up the purple gold gourd again, and raised his head again for a while. It was only soon that the feeling of being burnt became stronger. He shook his head. Yi Chen was slightly dizzy, and his dry mouth felt again. He was pouring more spiritual fluid into the purple golden gourd, but the more he thirsted, the more thirsty he wanted to drink. Unconsciously, most of the spiritual fluid in the Zijin gourd had been drunk by him. What's the matter? Yi Chen's eyes became blurred, and even looking at things was a bit fuzzy. To the extent that he drank too much spiritual fluid, he was unaware of his advancement to the 6th level of condensation. What? He did not know when he yelled and ripped off his clothes, feeling that his body was like a fire, and even every small pore in the whole body was burning with flames. Water. Subconsciously grabbed the purple gold gourd. Yi Chen raised his head for another burst of irrigation, and did not stop for a long time. Soon, there was such a voice in his body. He had just advanced for a short time, and he practiced from the 6th condensate to the 7th condensate and jumped to the 7th condensate. If this continues, the breakthrough to the 8th is not impossible. What? With a growl again, Yi Chen's shape changed. His eyes were bloodshot, and his forehead jumped out. It's not over. His body has an inexplicable black mist, and every pore in the whole body is filled with black magic spirit, and the long black hair becomes blood red at the speed visible to the naked eye. The most important thing is that his eyebrows flashed magic light, and a strange magic pattern flickered. Well, He hugged his head and knocked on the ground, only feeling his head roaring and his head exploding. He didn't know when he fell to the ground and fell into a faint. In the room, there was silence. I don't know how long before he recovered. There was nothing to say all night, and then dawn. As a ray of setting sun ran down his face through the window, he sat up suddenly. After a brief stagnation, he hurriedly inspected his body, only to find that his shirt was torn by himself. My cultivation is. He felt the majestic strength in his body. He couldn't help but be shocked. The realm climbed to the 3rd level and reached the 8th level of condensed gas. What happened last night? After a moment of sorrow, he remembered what happened last night. Beckoning the purple gourd, Yi Chen's eyes became dim. Last night, he drank the spiritual fluid inside, and then all kinds of strange things happened later. The body was like a fire burning, and his brain was roaring so that it burst. Is there a problem with this fluid? Yi Chen unplugged the gourd stopper and looked into it, but the door of the room was opened by Shang-Er's kick. Go away, the auction is about to begin. Yi Chen responded, covered the gourd stopper, then closed the purple gourd, and went out with Shang-Er. Chapter 48. In full swing. When the two of them came downstairs, they found that the street was full of people, without exception, all of them headed towards the center of the dark black market. This scene is not ordinary and vast, Yi Chen said, and put on his ghost mask again. This is Yi Rong Wan and Bian Sheng Wan. Swallow one. Shang-Er took 2 pills out of his crotch and handed them to Yi Chen. It can change the appearance and sound of people, and be careful to sail the ship of 10,000 years. Yi Chen originally wanted to take it over, but remembered that Shang-Er came out of his crotch and coughed dryly. You keep it. I'll wear a mask. Then, he took the mask from his arms and put it on his face. Don't pull it. Shang-Er was faceless and skinless, and swallowed the Biansheng pill and Yurong pill, regardless of Yi Chen's disgusting eyes. Why are your storage bags in the crotch? Safety. Near the center of the nether black market, there is a loft, towering into the clouds, and magnificent. This loft is called Hidden Dragon Pavilion, and it is the place where you do auctions over the years. At this moment, looking down from the air, the flow of people from the quartet has come together. Everyone is not simple, and their actions are relatively low-key. Not long after, the front of the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion was crowded. Why not open the door? Some people were already impatient. Time is up, what's the hurry? I don't know what will be auctioned at Tianchuanmen this time. The auction hosted by Tian Xuanmen is truly extraordinary. Behind the crowd, Yi Chen could not help but secretly murmur. Soon, the gate of Hidden Dragon Pavilion buzzed and opened slowly. As soon as the door opened, an old man in black with a blue dragon stick walked in first. Who is this person? It's too big. You don't even know that. It's the old man in Montenegro. Dominate. It's my eyesight. After the old people of Montenegro, several old people rushed in. Immediately after that, people flowed in, scrambling into the Dragon Pavilion. Let's go. Shang-Er followed the crowd into the crowd, his stack of small fresh meat almost squeezed into a meat pie. When the figures were scarce, Yi Chen stepped in and walked in. When he went in, Yi Chen found that the Dragon Pavilion was self-contained, and the square was huge. The carved jade columns in the hall, the magical flowers flying, and even the decorative grasses and flowers are extraordinary. What a big deal, Yi Chen hissed. Those who came in quickly found their place. Most of the monks who came to the auction for the first time had a new light in their eyes. As for those monks who had come before, they looked a lot lighter. That's it, that's it. Shang-Er pulled Yi Chen to a corner jade table. This is not polite, grabbing the spirit fruit on the table and stuffing it into the mouth. While stuffing it, don't forget to put a few in your arms. I rely on you to leave me a bit. Yi Chen could not help but curse. You have a mask and you can't eat it. I'll eat it for you. Dying you. I don't know how long. An old man sat down beside this table and looked carefully. Wasn't it the old man in purple in the barren forest that appeared yesterday? A glance at the old man in purple clothes, Yi Chen could not help but startled. Although Shu Wei was suppressed, the old man in purple clothes gave him the impression that the giant mountain was the highest. Yi Chen retracted his gaze, and the old man in purple also looked at Yi Chen slightly, but his eyes flashed with surprise. The people of the Qi family in Nanjong are here. I don't know who shouted. At the door, 3 old men in gray clothes had already entered and went straight to the second-floor elegant room. Sichu's house in Chishu has arrived. Is that the royal family of Baikuan? It even came. Shangguan's house in Dongyu. Most of them came from the cultivation family, and the battle was not small. All the monks in the pavilion attracted the past. Are none of your bears coming? Glancing at Daxi's family who kept walking in the doorway, Yi Chen couldn't help looking at Shang Come here. Shang who was stabbing Lingguo, pointed to a solid, fat-eared person on one side. Well, that's my second uncle. Your second uncle looks like a casual look. That is required. Heng Yizong is here too. Another shouted. Hearing that Yi Chen and Shang stunned in the past, a middle-aged man with a negative sword has stepped into the door, standing tall and straight, showing the spirit of fierce popularity. This person is from Heng Yizong. I haven't seen it. Yi Chen turned to look at Shang Have you seen it? The owner of the inner gate of Yu Zhanfang. Shang really recognized it and said, it seems to be called Windless. The people of Zhengyang sect have arrived. As he said, a voice came from below, but he was a gray-haired old man. Wu Changqing. Yi Chen recognized the man at a glance, but wasn't he the elder of the Zhengyangzong Enforcement Hall? The person who drove him out of Zhengyangzong that day was this Wu Changqing. Qing Yunzong also sent someone. After that, an old man in Xingyi walked in with a cane, followed by an old man and a young man in purple. When he looked at Yi Chen, his eyes froze in an instant, especially when he saw the young man in white, and there was still cold light in his eyes. Wasn't that young man in purple clothes the day he abolished his dantian? Yi Chen recognized him and turned into gray, and that was Lu Ji, the second true disciple of Qing Yunzong's 9th true biography. This revenge must be reported. Yi Chen's fist shook subconsciously. The people who arrived at Sanzong successively went up to the second floor, and 3 mermaids came in at the door, a gray-haired old man, a middle-aged man in purple robe, and a young man in white robe. Seeing that, Yi Chen's eyes were narrow again. Weren't these 3 people the same 3 people who chased Chu Linger in the monster forest that day? Yi Chen never expected that they would meet them here again. People of the bloodthirsty temple. The scene was mostly a sound of surprise. The 3 sects of the Great Chu, the bloodthirsty palace dominates the northern Chu, but they are the real giants, and the 3 sects dare not easily provoke them. It's lively now. I want to shoot a baby. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Below, on an elevated platform, an old figure has stepped up. People here call him Yange Lao. You should know the rules here, and I won't stop talking nonsense. Yange always said sharply, auction, start. Immediately, someone came to the stage holding a spirit sword. That spirit sword lingers on the purple light. The sharp sword is scary, and sometimes it also makes a humming sound, which is definitely a horrible killing sword. Ziyang's sword, the base price of 50,000 spirit stones, the highest price will get it. Yang Jie said lightly. I'm 5,000 and 1,000. Soon, some people raised the sign. 5,000 and 3,000. 60,000. Just a few breaths away, the price of a spirit sword climbed up. As the price continued to rise, the auction became hot. This is also expensive. Yi cornered. Yi Chen could not help but stun his tongue. The first auction item was so high in price, so he was ashamed of those spirit stones. Have you heard of a big start? Shang said. The first sale is lively, and there are cheap ones at the back. 8 souls, 85,000, 9,000. Below, the competition is still fierce. In order to get Ziyang's sword, one by one desperately increase the price, roared Blushing and Thick Neck. 100,000. At this moment, a voice came from the second floor, and the bidder was Zhengyangzong Wu Changqing. This time, the people below simply died down. If no one raises the price, this Ziyang sword is the Zhengyang sect. On the high platform, Yang Jie glanced down and saw that no one raised the price, then he waved back the Ziyang sword in his sleeve. Immediately, someone came up from the stage, holding a small copper furnace in his hand. The small copper furnace was engraved with road patterns and bloomed with light. Although it was only the size of a slap, it revealed a mighty spirit. Jiang copper furnace, with a starting price of 30,000 yuan, starts auctioning now. Soon, It was convenient for someone to bid, and the spirited addition of 1,000 spirits. 50,000. 70,000. I have 90,000. The bargaining voices kept coming and going, holding on to this small copper furnace a look that was determined to get it. This small copper furnace is also good. Yi Chen touched his chin. If you want, increase the price, Shang said. No money. Forget it. In a blink of an eye, the small copper furnace below had already sold at a high price of 150,000, and depending on the posture, it was still difficult to win the small copper furnace. 16,000. I am Qingyunzong. Above, the voice of Elder Qingyunzong came. Suddenly, the lower part of the flag swelled, leaving the 160,000 spirit stones alone, not to mention, just this behemoth of Qingyunzong is not something that ordinary people dare to provoke. Since no one has increased the price, this Qinglong is owned by Qingyunzong. Yang Ge looked around for a week and saw that no one offered a bid. The next thing he took out was still a magical weapon. It was a gossip mirror. As soon as it was taken out, it glowed hot light. The starting price is 100,000 yuan. 11,000. A man in purple clothing below, first bid. Zhou Kang, you are so small, but you can't take this gossip mirror. On the other side, a grim-faced white-haired old man sneered. I have 120,000. The white-haired old man smiled yin-yin. Zhou Kang looked cold and hummed. You are 10,000, 130,000. 150,000. I have 170,000. In the entire Hidden Dragon Pavilion, there were sounds of two people bidding. The two seemed to have long had grudges, and there was coldness and hostility in the lines. Sure enough, this Netherdark market auction is not as calm as it appears. In fact, these people are fighting in secret. 20,000. You 10,000, 21,000. The Bagua mirror was extremely fiercely competitive, and the two earned blushes and thick necks. The balance was not broken until the third person joined, followed by the fourth and fifth. With the increasing number of competitors, the price of these gossip mirrors has soared to as much as 300,000. Nima, I just prepared to step in. Shang exclaimed, it's a bunch of beasts to raise the price so high. How do I feel this auction has nothing to do with the two of us? No money, really aggrieved. Below, the bidding of the 8 diagrams mirror has ended, and it turned out to be a thin old man like a monkey. Humph, humph. The monks who had settled their hatred because of the gossip mirror snorted in cold light. Chapter 49. Lose one's home. At this point, the fourth auction item has already been taken out by Yang Ge, and it is still a magical artifact. It is an exquisite tower, glowing with colorful light, and the colorful light glowing around it, like a dragon. Move. A colorful and exquisite tower with a reserve price of 80,000. The colorful exquisite tower seems to have more influence than the previous 3 magical tools. Once it was taken out, the atmosphere in the pavilion instantly became hot, and the important thing was that the cultivation family had joined the battle. 100,000, 150,000, 20,000. The family became involved in the war, and the auction became very lively. The hostile family, in particular, finally found the reason for the confrontation, and a sound of cries resounded in the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion. In addition to the competition, there is a strong smell of gunpowder scattered in this Tibetan Dragon Pavilion, and all the lights are cold. If it is not forbidden here, I am afraid these martial arts have jumped out of the melee. This land has an endless stream of practice families, and all kinds of grudges have a long history. At this time, the auction of the Ghost Black Market brought them here, providing them with a good platform. Although they cannot fight bloody, at least they can fight against each other in terms of price, but only if you have money. 300,000. Below, a gray-haired old man gritted his teeth, and finally shouted the price. Why, do you want to be destroyed? A sound of laughter came from Yajianzhong above, listening carefully. It was the voice from Yajian, the bloodthirsty palace. The words were very threatening and intimidating. It's a moment. No, I don't. The gray-haired old man hurriedly abstained, for fear of angering the bloodthirsty temple, and causing a calamity for his family. Count your acquaintance. The auction continues, and the next few items are magical artifacts. After rounds of auctions came down, the climax was repeated, and horrible artifacts were taken out, and the voices below were full of shock. Soon, A black iron rod was sent to the platform. Iron rod, the reserve price is 10,000 yuan, and the auction is started. Yang Jie seemed tired, yawned, and said casually, "Okay." As soon as the iron rod was taken out, Yi Chen, who had closed his eyes in the corner, suddenly opened his eyes because the fire trembled. Baby. Yi Chen's eyes became bright. He thought about it. He couldn't help but poke the iron rod. More accurately, it was an iron rod. It was black, rusty, uneven, and damaged a few places. I couldn't see how to look. Surprisingly. Like Yi Chen, the monks below looked at the iron rod with wide eyes. What is this? Someone looked at Yang Ge lazily suspiciously. Isn't that right? Iron rod. Yang Ge always glanced at the man. Of course, you can also treat it as a burning stick. I heard that not only that person, but everyone, the corners of his mouth could not help twitching. You are too casual. Yang Jie said so casually that the monks underneath sneered. It's definitely not a treasure if you don't take it seriously. Selling is also ugly. Don't buy it if you have the money. No one wants it. He glanced down, and when no one answered, Yang Ge would collect the iron rod. Slow. Just then, a voice came from the corner. I want this iron rod. Huh. A sudden sentence made the audience look sideways. Naturally speaking, Yi Chen, it is rare to encounter a real trembling baby, and he will not let it go. Senior, 10,000 spirits, I want it. Are you ill? 10,000 spirit stones by a broken iron rod. Shang could not help but curse. It's cheap. I depend. The conversation between the two people instantly caused a big laugh, and the old guys were amused by Yi Chen and Shang. If no one raises the price, then this iron rod belongs to this little friend. Slow. Yang Ge's old words were interrupted by a voice. In case, this iron rod, I Zhengyang Zong accepted. Huh. The whole room was full of frivolous sounds, and they looked at the source of the sound. The elder Wu Changqing, the elder of the Zhengyang sect, was bidding. His posture was high, and the meaning between the lines seemed to show that the iron rod was something in his sleeve. In the corner, Yi Chen's eyes had narrowed slightly, and the fare increased again. I'll give you 12,000. Hearing words, there was another frivolity below. Who is this baby? Dare to grab something from Zhengyangzong, and it's still a black iron rod. Bakung has water in his head. In the noise, Wu Changqing smiled. Boy, do you know who you are grabbing from? Elder, are you scaring me? Yi Chen glanced at Yajian on the second floor. Very good, Bony. Wu Changqing laughed. No one dared to grab something from my Zhengyangzong for a long time. In this case, this seat will accompany you to play. I will give you 20,000 spirit stones. 2,000 in case. Yi Chen's voice sounded immediately. 30,000. 31. Yi Chen followed immediately, with a sneer radiant in the corner of his mouth. He had already planned to fight off all the possessions in Wu Changqing to the end. Even if it was not for that iron rod, he would have to fight for being ruthlessly driven down the mountain that day. Tone. Very well, I'm out of 40,000. Wu Changqing's words were still abusive, and tens of thousands of spirit stones were not worth mentioning in his eyes. 100,000. Kiki. Yi Chen really didn't stop talking. He almost choked the audience with a word. I rely. You are crazy. Shang scolded Yi Chen. Yi Chen ignored him, but couldn't help but look up and looked at the second floor, smiling. Elder, can you still have fun playing this way? It's only 100,000. Wu Changqing apparently did not expect Yi Chen to reach 100,000 in one breath, which made his face look a little gloomy. You must know that he is an elder, but the courage of the asking price was suppressed by a junior. Not angry. 110,000. Wu Changqing sneered. Boy, you have to add me some kind. 20,000. Puff. As soon as this word came out, the sound of spitting water was all below. Whose baby? 200,000. Great courage. This time, Yi Chen was completely called focus. Even the old Yang Ge on the high platform couldn't help showing surprise. A junior dared to grab something from Zhengyangzong, and he couldn't help paying attention. At the moment, too many people can't help but look around. Yi Chen is better, just like nothing, sipping tea. He knows how to fight for money. He is far from being Wu Changqing's opponent, but for that baby, he still decided to fight with Wu Changqing. Even if he couldn't shoot the baby, he would have to spend more spiritual stones. Of course, 200,000 is his limit. This is still coupled with those jade liquids. It was originally intended to buy black steel and black iron. Now it seems that he is going crazy here. Looking at Wu Changqing again, his complexion has become iron blue. How could he think of a junior who dared to rob something like this openly in Zhengyangzong, and even made a price of 200,000? He is not short of money, but for a 200,000 yuan to buy a broken iron rod, it is really impossible. Now it is difficult for him to ride a tiger. Buy it, it is not cost effective. Do not buy it, it is not his face that lost. The entire Zhengyangzong will become the laughing stock of everyone present. 21,000, if you can add me again. Under the great attention, Wu Changqing still raised his price again. This time, Yi Chen was in trouble, and 200,000 was his limit. Boy, do you really want to get an iron rod? Shang who was a little bit embarrassed, asked Yi Chen. Yi Chen nodded slightly. Seeing this, Shang immediately pulled out a storage bag from his crotch. I only have 300,000. I borrowed it. Please remember to pay me back. Hearing that Yi Chen was a little bit confused, who had thought that Shang would be so enlightened at the critical moment, which made him feel a warm current. A big deal next time. Shang spread his hands. Thanks. Yi Chen smiled gratefully. 300,000. As his voice sounded, it caused another sensation in the audience. At this moment, even Jining Shuang, who had always been indifferent, could not help but cast a surprised look. When he saw Yi Chen with a mask, his eyebrows frowned slightly. Looking at Wu Changqing's complexion, it was already so dreary that it was extremely scary, and the coldness in his eyes suddenly appeared, which turned out to be a murder. Move the killing again. Don't blame me for being rude. After capturing Wu Changqing's killing, Yang Ge couldn't help but say a word. Reproached in public, Wu Changqing's fist clenched in his sleeve, clashed his teeth, and said, I have 300,000. 500,000. This little baby is going to go against God. Suddenly, everyone's eyes shot up. Who would have thought that an iron rod that was regarded as tattered was sold for a price of 500,000 yuan? Throughout this auction, I am afraid that only this auction item has reached such a high price. Boom. Just hearing the sound of a table and chair being broken in Zhengyangzong room, Wu Changqing was completely furious. But he did not increase the price after all. Tens of thousands of spirits are not worth mentioning, but 500,000 spirits is not a small number. Although he is an elder, he does not have the big courage to spend 500,000 spirits by a broken iron rod. In the spotlight, none of Wu Changqing's words were heard, which made Yi Chen spit out deeply. 500,000, I hope you don't let me down. Speaking, Yi Chen did not forget to look at the iron rod on the stage. Since no one has increased the price, this iron rod belongs to that little friend. Yang Ge veteran finalized. In the following, there are several artifact auctions. Although the price is not low and the auction is quite lively, none of them are as thrilling as the iron rod. It was only after sunset that today's auction came to an end. Today's auction ends here. Tomorrow continues. Those who took the items, bring the money, and come to the backyard to pick them up. Chapter 50. Purple Man. As Yang Ge Laozhong said that today's auction is over, the people in Zhanglongge all got up, and they were not interested in the previous bidding of iron bars. As a result, when everyone stood, they would take a deep look at Yi Chen. I'll get the latte stick, you go back first. Yi Chen looked around at the stance, and then glanced at the second-floor elegant room, then looked at Shang when you go out, pay attention to behind you. It's okay, is there my second uncle? Shang waved his hand, slipped into the crowd, disappeared in an instant. After Shang left, Yi Chen walked to the back hall of Hidden Dragon Pavilion. Lots of people come and go, including Wu Changqing. Seeing Yi Chen, Wu Changqing's face was gloomy to the extreme, his voice was cold and bones. Boy, I will let you know the cost of intriguing me. Fair bidding, the one with the highest price wins, and the seniors are reluctant to spend money, which also blame me. Yi Chen sneered. I hope that by the time the auction is over, your mouth will still be so smart. Wu Changqing threw away his robes and walked away. Do you think I will give you a chance? With a sneer at Wu Changqing leaving, Yi Chen turned and walked into the back hall. Seeing Yi Chen, the old man sitting on the futon on the other end couldn't help but stare. "Little guy, you have a lot of energy today." Senior made fun. Yang did not ask again, but took out the black iron rod with a whisker, and Yi Chen had already taken out a storage bag, and handed it to him very painfully. The 500,000 spirit stones were really right. Let him lose his home. "Thank you, Senior." After accepting the iron rod, Yi Chen bowed his hand and worshipped. This was about to leave here, but he was stopped by Yang. "Little friends and slow." Hearing that, Yi Chen could not help but look back, and looked at the old man in doubt. "Senior, do you have anything to do?" "I'm fine, but someone asked you for something so trivial." Yang smiled mildly, saying that he had not forgotten to extend his arm and made a please gesture. "Little friend, please come inside." Yi Yang was suddenly so polite, which made Yi Chen somewhat flattered. "Come in, someone is waiting for you." Yang Lao smiled again with a kind smile. Although wrong, Yi Chen still walked in the direction of the old finger of Yang. He knew that in this Tibetan dragon pavilion, it was not his decision whether to go in or not. It was better to take the initiative. Followed the door of the back hall and walked in, only to find that there was a small courtyard behind the back hall. The small courtyard has its own borders, it is full of glory, and it is full of rocky hills. It is also full of spiritual flowers and grasses. The sound of the flowing water is clear and audible. Yi Chen can't help but marvel at the extraordinariness of the hidden dragon pavilion. A chic little garden. "Little friend, please." As Yi Chen marveled, a gentle voice came from the gazebo in the small courtyard. Hearing the sound, Yi Chen was a stunner again. Wasn't the middle-aged man sitting in the gazebo the auctioneer who was sitting next to him today? He is from Tianchuanmen. This was the first thought in Yi Chen's heart, otherwise he would not appear in the backyard of Hidden Dragon Pavilion, and he would not let Yang always show such kindness. "Come." The old man in purple greeted Yi Chen. Without much thought, Yi Chen embarked on the gazebo and saluted the old man in purple respectfully. "The juniors have met the seniors. You don't have to be polite, sit down." The old man in purple clothes smiled. Although he was a strong man, he didn't have any clues, making Yi Chen think that he was an ordinary grandpa in front of him. "I don't know why the seniors recruited the juniors." Yi Chen looked at the old man in doubt. "Please help, please help me." Yi Chen was surprised again, and he was so surprised that he would ask him for help. "To be more precise, I want to ask the real fire in your body to help." The old man in purple clothes looked at Yi Chen very deeply. Hearing that Yi Chen frowned, and he had a real fire thing. The only person who knew it was Shang the fat man. He thought he was hiding deeply, and never thought he was captured by the old man in purple. Seeing Yi Chen's vigilance, the old man in purple clothes smiled gently. "Little friends, rest assured, please help, that's all." Yi Chen couldn't help but smile. He couldn't rest assured how he could do it. Here, he had no confidence in a condensed state. The old man in purple was very polite without rushing on the spot. "Of course, it's not useless, I will give you the corresponding compensation, or if you have anything you want, you can raise it." The old man in purple clothes said again. "Speaking of this child, Yi Chen naturally won't carry it, don't give it up." Taking a deep breath, he gave a dry cough, touched the tip of his nose, and said, "I need money." He was originally for Zon steel and Zon iron. Whoever wanted to lose the house for the iron rod, and Shang-Er's 300,000 foreign debt, now he is the master of extreme lack of money. Naturally, he did not say how much it would cost. First, he really doesn't know how much it should be. Secondly, he gave the decision to the old man in purple clothing. "Anyway, I asked for money. If you want to give more, you can give more, and if you want to give less, you can have less. If not, I dare not have any opinion." Aside, the old man in purple clothes held a teacup and took a sip, and when he saw that Yi Chen didn't speak anymore, he couldn't help looking at Yi Chen. "That's all." He smiled. Yi Chen nodded. The old man in purple smiled slightly, took a storage bag and handed it to Yi Chen. "Thank you, Senior." Yi Chen hurriedly took it, but didn't go to see it on the spot, and it didn't look good, so if you do and have it, can you order more? He has that heart and no courage. Just get started. Okay, Yi Yan said, hurriedly put the black iron and black steel into the storage bag. Here, the old man in purple has pulled up the sleeve of his left arm, exposing his arm. Seeing this, Yi Chen frowned, because the old man in purple was black with the same body. If you look closely, you can see the strange runes on the surface of the arms. What is this? Yi Chen looked up at the old man in purple. Witches. Yi Chen couldn't help but remember the words about witches and mantras that he had seen in Zhengyang Zongzhuge a few years ago. The mantra is an extremely vicious mantra, and it can only be cast by the legendary witches. If the mantra is lost, if it cannot be stopped or cleared in time, it will be killed by the mantra. As for the Wu tribe, it is a big one. It is an ancient and mysterious race, and the demons, immortals, spirits, ancients, demons, protoss, dragons, and barbarians are also called ancient 9 races. They are extremely powerful. It is a real ancient engine. Yi Chen was surprised. He never thought that there would be such a curse of the Wu tribe in the body of such a powerful monk. Senior, can my real fire help you to restrain this mantra? Knowing the power of the mantra, Yi Chen was a little out of breath. Ordinary real fire will not work, but your real fire may work. As soon as this remark came out, Yi Chen looked stunned, and looked at the old man in purple. Senior, is it true that the fire is still different? Chapter 51. Sorcery. Of course. The old man in purple clothing smiled slightly at Yi Chen's inquiries. I have seen many real fires, but like you, the golden real fire, I really saw it for the first time. But I don't think my real fire is very strong. Yi Chen scratched his head. True fire is born from heaven and earth. It is inherently spiritual and naturally suppressed by the master's cultivation. Only then can you condense the air, and your true fire only has the ability corresponding to your cultivation, and... Having said that, the old man in purple stagnated and took a deep look at Yi Chen, and your true fire has not yet awakened. Don't wake up. Yi Chen was surprised the more he heard. I can only say that it is not a normal real fire, at least in my opinion. It is stronger than all the real fires I have ever seen. The old man in purple clothes seems to have concealed, saying too much is not good for the current Yi Chen. Yi Chen's intentions were not exhausted, but he knew how to converge and did not continue to ask. Come on. The old man in purple has raised his arm and raised his palm. Yi Chen didn't drag at all, and immediately raised his arm, and the palm of the old man in Z was stuck together. Suddenly, his heart moved, real fire burst out at will, and poured into the old man's arm through the palm of his hand, forming countless words, and wrapped those words tightly. Devil's blood. Really in contact with Yi Chen's body, the eyes of the old man in purple suddenly became profound. He stared at Yi Chen, as if he could see the blood flowing in Yi Chen's body, from which he caught a bloodthirsty, ferocious and violent gas. The old man in Z narrowed his eyes and glanced at Yi Chen with a faint glance. How could there be magic blood in his body? The old man in purple murmured, and he could see that Yi Chen obviously did not know that the blood of the ancient demons was hidden in his blood. The doubt in my heart was interrupted by the pain in the arm. The old man in purple clothing withdrew his thoughts from Yi Chen, focused his eyes on his own arm, and was wrapped in Yi Chen's real fire. The mantra of the mantra felt a strong threat, struggling violently. Upon seeing this, the old man in purple clothing pointed out and completely trapped the curse's curse on his arm, so as not to spread to other parts of the body. An hour passed. Yi Chen was sweating. His real fire was still burning, but the mantra of the sorcery was obviously ingrained, and he could resist the real fire chamber, so that after so long, he could only burn a little bit of the mantra. Zon steel and Zon iron are not easy to take. Yi Chen wiped his sweat. At this moment, think about it, he regrets that the reward is less. This mantra is far from the evil thoughts in Bear 2 Mace. It can't be refined overnight. It needs a long time to completely remove it. Time. Between Yi Chen was a bit laborious. The old man in purple clothes put his palm lightly on Yi Chen's shoulder, and rolled into the body of Yi Chen. Jing Yuan's body shook Yi Chen's spirit. You only need to refine one of the mantras, said the old man in purple. The mantras are linked by the mantras. When a mantra is refined, I have a way to break the mantra. Okay. Yi Chen nodded, took a deep breath, and the real fire flame rose instantly. 6 hours later, he took off for the first time, panting back to the real fire. At this time, if you look at the arm of the old man in purple clothes, the curse pattern on it is already in chaos, and the magic curse connected by the curse pattern has also changed. The old man in purple is really a supernatural person. He put his fingers close together, pressed it on his arm, and started to move down from his shoulder. The curse imprinted on his arm was forced out by him. Yi Chen did not bother, but exited the small courtyard gently. When he returned to the back hall again, he picked out the old man in purple clothes and gave him a storage bag. He hurriedly looked inside and couldn't help being surprised. 500,000. Seeing the number of spirit stones, he couldn't help but swallow a secret spit. It's a big deal. Sighing with tongues, Yi Chen's heart was full of thoughts. It was beyond his expectation that the old man in purple clothes would give him so many spirit stones. For a while, Yi Chen found out that in addition to the 500,000 spirit stones in the storage bag, there was a small note. Taking out a small note, Yi Chen hurriedly looked at it. The iron rod was counted as Tian Zhan Men's gift to Xiaoyu, 500,000 spirit stones, and the original number was returned. Sure enough, Tian Zhan Men. Yi Chen touched his chin. Thinking of this in his heart, he stepped out of the backyard and came to the street. His mood was very good. The 500,000 spirit stones returned, giving him a little more confidence, and having money in his hand, very at ease. It's getting late, but there are still many pedestrians on the street, and the rumblings are still endless. Yi Chen didn't go back immediately, but strolled around the street, looking over the stalls on both sides, looking for the black steel and black iron he needed. After all, he stopped at a wretched old man's stall. Zhan Gang Zhan Iron. Yi Chen had just stopped, and he set his eyes on two irregular stones, one black and one bright, not too big, only the size of an egg. His arrival did not attract the attention of the insignificant old man, who was now staring at the passing woman with his eyes glowing. While looking at it, he was also showing that insignificant smile. Somehow, when he saw the old man at first glance, Yi Chenmeng had an impulse to want to be ridiculous. "Old man, look at me and take things away." "What?" The old man's eyes turned around immediately, and he gave a cough, and calmly wiped the saliva from his mouth. The 180-degree turn turned his face, and he looked at his handful of beards and looked like a senior man. Yi Chen's mouth twitched sharply. The secret performance of the old man in the dark road was not covered. He looked at the beauties in the last second. At this moment, he became a senior expert. "I didn't know that this product was really a senior. Where is the master?" "This little brother. When you see that you are a person who knows goods, I'm all a baby here, only to be destined." The old man was again scratching his beard, but his face was always insignificant. "Cut." Yi Chen disagreed. He passed by so many stalls, almost everyone said so, and he was no stranger. "I want this piece of black iron and black steel," Yi Chen said without ink, pointing to the black iron and black steel. 10,000. The old man straightened a finger. 5,000. Yi Chen directly exploded the price. "You stunned? 100,000 spirit stones. I can't buy it directly from Xiao Tai Fuk, but also ran to this dark black market with thousands of miles." I said, "Xiaowa, you've cut the price too hard." The insignificant old man stared with a beard. "My master taught me to buy things halfway." Yi Chen looked at the wretched old man harmlessly. The wretched old man was about to jump on the spot, but still hesitated. 90,000, can't be less. 60,000. The deal. Yi Chen had to fight hard to bargain with the insignificant old man, but he couldn't think that the old man promised so easy, which made him a little surprised. "Give money and money, hurry up." The wretched old man seemed to be in a hurry, plugged Zontai and Zon Steel, and then started to clean up his booth, this look of panic, as if there is something urgent. Yi Chen was very confused, but still reached into his storage bag. "Zhu Jiyu, you old man, you kill 1,000 swords." Before he pulled out the spirit stone, Yi Chen heard a loud cursing coming from afar. Could not help but glance. Not far away is a fat old man angry to kill. Seeing this, Yi Chen came to understand this. The owner of this booth was so anxious that someone asked him to settle the bill. Thinking in this way, but Yi Chen still took out the spirit stone, and always paid for shopping. However, before he passed the spirit stone, the insignificant old man rolled up and ran away, and the speed was not covered. You shit. After the wretched old man, the fat old man whistled past like a gust of wind, and the already noisy street, because these two immortal noises, turned into a flying dog. Let's go. Yi Chen coughed, took out the storage bag containing the spirit stone, and let him consciously stuff it into the storage bag again. Chapter 52. Unresponsive Iron Whip. After turning around, seeing that there was nothing to buy, Yi Chen left the noisy street. As soon as he entered the inn, Shang-Er rushed up and grabbed Yi Chen, yelling, "Ya, I thought you were assassinated. You have said that during the auction, private fighting is prohibited. No matter how brave Wu Changqing is, he dare not find me here." Yi Chen said, not forgetting to take out a storage bag from his arms and stuff it after Shang-Er's hand. "Now, your spirit stone, 300,000, no more, no less." After receiving the storage bag, Shang-Er glanced inside, and then a pair of small eyes looked at Yi Chen in surprise. "You still have spirit stones. Pick it, pick, pick." Shang-Er chased behind Yi Chen's buttocks, like a follower. "Where to pick? I'll pick a basket." "Tian Zan Men." A random answer. Yi Chen stretched his waist and walked to his room while waving his hand. "Too tired today, rest early." Shang-Er wanted to say something, but Yi Chen had closed the door. Tian Xuanmen picked it up. "It's strange to believe yours," Shang-Er muttered, holding a heavy storage bag, and he smiled again. Back in the room, Yi Chen closed the door tightly and took out the Zijin gourd. He still remembered that he drank the fluid from the little gourd last night, only to feel his body burn like a fire, and the pain that his head was about to explode, still makes him feel awkward. The body seemed to be burning, and my head was about to burst, which even made my practice break through to the 8th weight of condensed gas. There must be something wrong with this spiritual fluid. Moaning quietly, Yi Chen poured a drop of spiritual fluid from the small gourd. The spiritual fluid is purple, glowing with halo, and crystal clear. This is a fusion of jade spiritual fluid and aura fluid. The medicinal fragrance is rich and tangy. When you smell it, you will feel relaxed and happy. No problem. Yi Chen touched his chin after staring for a while. Nothing like usual. Then, he swallowed the drop of spirit into his mouth. As usual, this spiritual fluid entered the body and turned into a strong essence, integrated into his body, and there was no sense of heat last night. Strange. Yi Chen couldn't help but scratch his head. Next, he swallowed a few drops of spirits one after another. His body still did not have the weird pain like last night, but he felt warm all over. "It's weird," he muttered again. Yi Chen withdrew his thoughts, and then took out the black iron rods that he took at the auction today. "It took you 500,000 spirit stones to photograph you, so don't let me down." While talking, Yi Chen pushed the iron rod along the mouth of the purple gold gourd. As soon as the iron rod was stuffed in, the Zijin gourd buzzed. Seeing this, Yi Chen's eyes brightened, rubbing his hands and staring at the purple gold gourd, hoping that the purple gold gourd could find the mystery on the iron rod. However, since the Zijin gourd trembled, it had no text and stood quietly on the table, except for the purple gas that overflowed from time to time. "It's gone." With a look of surprise, Yi Chen picked up the Zijin small gourd, shook it subconsciously, and then looked towards the inside along the gourd mouth. He found that the iron rod was in the purple gold gourd, and there was no abnormal shape, and it was suspended there quietly, as if the purple gas flowing around it had nothing to do with it. I don't know how long before, Yi Chen was so anxious that he put the purple gold gourd back to its original place. "You sigh, 500,000 spirit stones, and bought your iron rod that can't fall through." The Zijin gourd seemed to be spiritual. When he heard Yi Chen's abdomen, it trembled again, as if to say, "Benema stuffed everything into my stomach." Then, Zijin's small gourd spit out the black iron rod, and hit the ground with a bang. Not bad temper. Leaving his mouth shut, Yi Chen stopped paying attention to the small gourd, but picked up the black iron rod. Observing the iron rod at such a close range, he found that the iron rod was clearly an iron whip, black and covered with rust, but also puddles. It was hardly surprising. It can arouse the attention of real fire. "I don't believe you are an ordinary iron whip." Secretly in his heart, Yi Chen still didn't give up, and then offered the real fire and wrapped the black iron whip. The golden flames were burning, causing the temperature in the room to rise instantly. Under the calcination of the real fire, the black iron whip still had no change. It ignored the calcination of the real fire so that Yi Chen frowned. Come again. With a deep moan, Yi Chen increased the real fire calcination. However, the black iron whip still has no abnormalities. 3 hours later, Yi Chen breathed breathlessly. The calcination of the real fire at 3 hours failed to melt the iron whip, leaving him exhausted. I really don't believe it. With a curse in his mouth, Yi Chenshuan took out the Qishao sword, then poured his whole body into it, fiercely slashing towards the iron whip. LB. The sound of the metal collision was extremely crisp, and Kai Shaojian was stunned out on the spot. Even Yi Chen was stunned and kicked back. The entire arm was numb and there was no sense of it. Not ordinary hard. Picking up the Qishao sword, Yi Chen saw a small gap in the sword. On the other hand, the iron whip was still firmly inserted into the ground by Taishan. The sharp Qishao sword failed to leave a trace on it. What the asterisk did this make? After receiving the Qishao sword, Yi Chen looked up and down the iron whip. Ignoring the true fire calcination, even Qishao cannot shake half a minute. He can imagine how extraordinary the material used to make this iron whip is, but it has made him more balanced. He bought a handful of hard stones. Iron whip is not as worthless as imagined. It's good to smash people. After touching his chin, Yi Chen turned his hand and closed the iron whip. Soon, he removed black iron and black steel from the storage bag. These two pieces of spiritual metal are placed in front of the eyes, forming a stark contrast. Black iron is black, and black steel is bright and flexible. These two materials are combined to make a good choice for weapons. Sacrifice the real fire. Take out the red Shao sword again. Yi Chen wrapped the three with real fire, calcined the essence of the black iron and black steel, and refined it into the red Shao sword. It's a long process. It wasn't until dawn that he caught the real sweat. Ha, ha, the room was full of howls of swords. At this moment, the Qishao sword became more and more extraordinary, and it was still red. There was no need to instill the vitality, but there was a lingering qi of the sword, and sometimes a swordman appeared. It's nice. Yi Chen held the Qishao sword in love, and Yi Chen was very happy. The main thing was that he created the sword. Chapter 53, Tiana Club. In the early morning, the gentle sun flooded the whole dark black market. A new day of auctions has begun. Every attic has people coming out, and people are coming from all directions and heading towards the hidden dragon pavilion at the center. Would you like it? Before going out, Shang pulled out a voice-changing pill and Yirong pill from the crotch and handed it to Yi Chen. Glancing at Shang crotch, Yi Chen coughed, "You can eat it." Then, he took out a wolf head mask from the storage bag, covered his face, and wanted to eat the pill that Shang had pulled out of his crotch. How could he say that he really couldn't get out of his mouth? Don't eat and pull down. Shang disagreed and shoved the two pills into his mouth. Soon, his appearance changed dramatically, and he became a fat old man with a small beard in his jaw, which was a little lower, and he didn't look like an old man. With the flow of people, the two came to the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion again. It is still the most corner of the place. The two of them sat down and ate, while still not forgetting the entrance of Hidden Dragon Pavilion. The dwellings of the big families of Dachu came in, and they didn't budge. Especially the families with grievances, one with a calm face, seemed to be struggling to compete at this auction. The Sanzong people then arrived, and the bloodthirsty palace was still the finale. Yi Chen saw Wu Changqing. His old face was really gloomy and could not be gloomy again. He lost his face yesterday and became the biggest laughingstock here. After letting him go back, he became furious and threatened to knock Yi Chen alive. Don't be arrogant, don't let you bleed again today. A glance at Wu Changqing gave Yi Chen a sneer. You must be honest today. Shang shouted, while shoving something in his mouth, be careful to overturn the boat in the gutter, then Wu Changqing is not so provocative. No, silhouettes spurred, each in place. Everyone's eyes were on the front stage. Yesterday all the artifacts were auctioned, and today the mysterious mystery was auctioned, which is the usual rule of the underworld. I don't know if I can take a secret method this time. The auction has not really started yet, and the convenience is already a matter of discussion. I heard that the mysteries of this auction are extraordinary. What's extraordinary is not ours. In the debate, Yang Jie, the host of the auction, has stepped onto the stage and looked around, and then he said, "The auction, start." After that, he had turned out a scroll and turned his eyes into a flash. Yi Yang refers. Yang Jie veteran that scroll is suspended in midair, and did not forget to introduce this mystery, refining the true qi, gathering one finger, is called a yang, and the Taoist of the fire attribute can consider bid. Quote, "The reserve price is 50,000 yuan, and the auction will start now." 60,000. As soon as Yangi's old words fell, someone was holding a sign below. "My Qi family has 200,000. The second bid was a gray elder from the Qi family in southern Xinjiang. This arrogant and incomprehensible, lying leisurely on the seat, his look was even more fun. He raised the price of 140,000 spirit stones at a stretch, so that the people who were preparing to bid, sat back consciously. This includes Bear too. "You shit, I still want to participate." Shang scolded him forever. Cultivation of the family is rich in wealth. Yi Chen aside, his face sighed. 21,000. Another person raised the price below, and the bidder was a middle-aged beautiful woman in a red robe in the Baikuan family. The same family, this Wang family is not weaker than Qi family, to a certain extent better than Qi family. The middle-aged beautiful woman also seems to see the extraordinariness of that yang finger, do not want to easily give to Qi family. 25,000 yuan. After the Wang family, the Situ family of Qishu also participated in the price increase in one breath. 300,000. Dongyu's Shangguan family pushed the auction of a yang finger to a climax. 3,000 and 1,000. 35,000. The major families of Dachu practiced bidding. In less than a minute, the price of this male finger reached a high price of 500,000 yuan, making a helpless look for the casual repairers. Nothing. Shang lay on the seat like a dead pig. It's really a bunch of beasts. Yi Chen also became embarrassed. His aura is right up to the yang, and it is suitable to practice that yang finger. However, he is so shy, he feels helpless. 550,000. But the next voice made Shang and Yi Chen's eyes light up again, because the second uncle of Shang was the bidder. There is a play, there is a play. Shang rubbed his small hands, his two small eyes focused, staring at a solid figure in front of him. He did not expect that their Shang family also participated in the auction, and they shot generously, and pressed all the families on the scene. In this way, he could learn a yang finger without spending money. Similarly, Yi Chen rubbed his hands, and it was not impossible to learn this yang finger based on his friendship with Shang. On the second floor, the elders of the Qi family were gloomy. Looking at the second uncle of Shang, he said coldly, "Shang Dashan, you are so brave. If you have won, add it." Shang Dashan was strong, and Qi Jiaqi, who was whispering in a word, sighed. "Your Shang family has resentment with Qi family." From the words of Shang Dashan and Qi's parents, Yi Chen caught some clues and couldn't help looking at Shang aside. "Of course there is resentment," Shang shouted, scolding, "the two of us have forged a beam from my grandpa's generation, because of a natural spiritual stone mine, there is not much to do on weekdays." "What do you mean? 550,000, is anyone still raising the price?" On the stage, Yang Lao glanced at Qijia Yajian, and looked down again. After all, Sanzong and Bloodthirsty Hull did not participate in the auction, which made Yi Chen and Shang relieved. LB. On the stage, Yang Lao has finally decided. After receiving the yang finger scroll, Yang Jie turned his hands and took out a jade bamboo slip. On the jade bamboo slip, 3 big characters were clearly written: Ling Yunbu. Shenshu Xuanshu, Ling Yunbu, 30,000, starting. Yang said casually. Compared with that yang finger, this Ling Yunbu obviously has a lower grade, but it can't stop the robbers of the people, because this is the mystery of the Tianquanmen auction. 50,000. I have 70,000. 100,000. Ling Yunbu's auction was still quite hot, but compared to the auction of the yang finger, it was still a lot worse. Finally, a man in a black robe took the hand for 130,000. The auction continues. Yang Lao constantly took out the mystery of mystery, and each one will cause a lot of noise in the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion. The auction is also climaxing. The competition among the great families, the three ancestors, the bloodthirsty palace and the hidden world is fierce. During this period, Yi Chen and Shang also made several shots, but they were too upset by the price of that day. I can see it. This asterisk is a group of beasts. Shang lay on the table, scolding him forever. They are all wealthy masters. Yi Chen also became frustrated after being frustrated repeatedly. The spirit in the storage bag made him embarrassed to speak again. Every time he shot, it was not enough to plug his teeth. Child's Qianyu Club, Taoist friends of spiritual masters can consider. On the stage, Yang Lao has taken out a step scroll. The reserve price is 30,000, and the price increase must not be less than 1,000 spirit stones. Starting auction now. Quote. Staff. Yi Chen, who was on the table, lifted his head and looked at the stage with his eyes bright. You don't practice sticks anymore, you're excited. Shang glanced at Yi Chen. I do and need it, who can use it? Chapter 54. Crazy again. I can't use it, I can use it. Then, Yi Chen looked down again. Compared with several previous mystery auctions, this day the club is obviously underrepresented. Long ago, Yang Jie said that no one had bargained. On the stage, Yang Jie saw no one shouting at the price, and frowned slightly. The stick method is difficult to repair, and it is useless. Most people hold up teacups and do not interrupt the auction of participating in the club. If sword mystery, you can think about it. This is a side door. No one wants it. Listening to the discussion below, Yi Chen secretly relieved, at least a lot of competitors. No one wants it. Yang Ge looked around and looked down. After all, he couldn't help but ask. Looking at the bottom, drinking tea, my sister-in-law's sister-in-law. As far as Yang Ji's question is concerned, it is like farting, which means that they don't want this stick method. Seeing this, although Yang Lao had been psychologically prepared, he still felt embarrassed. Since no one wants it, then this stick method will be shot. I want me too. After waiting for Yang Jie to finish his words, Yi Chen hurriedly held up a sign. Senior, 31,000 spirit stones, I'll take the stick club this day. Yi Chen's voice attracted a lot of attention. Those who came to the auction to secretly did practice the mystery of sticks. Really don't say that after Yi Chen bid, there was no one at the scene to bid. When he saw this, Yang Jie rubbed his eyebrows secretly, then raised his arm holding the hammer and was about to knock it down. However, before he fell, an untimely voice from the elegant room of Zhengyangzong on the second floor sounded again. 40,000, Zhengyangzong received it. In the corner, listening to Wu Changqing's high words, Yi Chen glanced coldly at Yajian on the second floor. Wu Changqing, it's you again. You don't need it when no one took it. Now I shot it, and you ran out again. Quote. 40,000, is anyone still raising the price? If no one is increasing. 100,000. Before waiting for Yang Ge to finish speaking, Yi Chen in the corner interrupted his discourse again, and mentioned the price to the 100,000 spirits in one breath. Someone grabbing something with Wu Changqing. It won't be the guy from yesterday. I can't see. Yesterday the man wore a ghost head mask, and today he wore a wolf head mask. Looking at Yajian on the second floor again, Wu Changqing's face became gloomy again. Yesterday, he held on to the power of Zhengyangzong and played with tenderness for the iron rod, but never thought he was crushed by 500,000 people. His face and Zhengyangzong's face were completely lost by him. Today, someone robbed him of something and made him burn in anger. Although he wanted the club to be useless that day, he could not tolerate others to offend his majesty. 15,000. Thinking in this way, Wu Changqing could not help but sternly. 200,000. As soon as his voice fell, Yi Chen in the corner responded. Boy, you can't do it. Shang dragged Yi Chen's horns, and his other hand didn't forget to cover his crotch. He could see that Yi Chen would borrow spirits from him next time. Stone out. 300,000 spirit stones are ready. Yi Chen glanced at Shang You shit, I haven't covered it yet. Shang grinned. Boy, do you know who you're grabbing from? In the second floor, Wu Changqing's voice was cold. Fair bidding, the one with the highest price wins, the predecessor has to overpower others. Yi Chen's words were not humble, but his lips were sneered tightly. He has already worked hard to fight with Wu Changqing again. Even if he loses his family, he will have to shoot the stick club for Hua that day. There are few stick tricks, and he will never miss it. Naturally, this is just one of them. At this moment, Yi Chen's mind was still disturbed by the incident of being driven down the mountain that day. That was his eternal pain. He was even more accustomed to Wu Changqing's attitude of supremacy, all of which drove him to make a crazy thing. It's a fair bid. On the second floor, there was a cold laugh from Wu Changqing. I have 250,000 from Zhengyang. 500,000. As soon as Wu Changqing's words fell, Yi Chen raised his sign. Puff, puff, puff. Suddenly, the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion was full of the voice of spitting tea. Yi Chen raised the price by 250,000 at a stretch, almost choking them to death. What the asterisk is this? Hidden in the Dragon Pavilion, it seemed to be boiling. How precious is the stick's mystery. That kid is brave enough. Dare to grab something from Zhengyangzong. Hundreds of thousands of spirits, this is going to God. Yesterday was a broken iron whip, today is a broken stick method. No matter what is the least noticed, it will be sold at sky-high prices. What is happening in this world? Quote. The enthusiastic vocals, Yi Chen in the corner, became the most watched person in the audience. On the second floor, there were successively opened bead curtains overlooking one after another. The parents of the major generations, Qingyunzong, Hengyuzong, the Windless Trace, and the three hallowed powerhouses of the Bloodthirsty Hall all cast surprise eyes. Compared to these people, Wu Changqing's complexion has changed from gloomy to ruthless, and from ruthless to hesitant. Yesterday's face was sweeping away, and today's scene looks like yesterday. Again, if you see a ant shoot that stick method, you will lose not only his face, but the entire face of Zhengyangzong. I obviously want that stick method to be useless, but I have to run out and pretend to see it. The fork is split. Someone sneered. Looking closely, it turned out to be the Zhuge Yu who sold Yi Chenshuan Tai and Zon steel yesterday. His words did not go unnoticed. At first glance, he was a man of profound cultivation and was not afraid of the might of Zhengyangzong. His words made Wu Changqing's old face hot. Boom. He smashed the table and chairs next to him, and was about to bid, but was stopped by Hua Yun and Ji Ningshuang behind him. Elder, our goal is Tianji Dan. Also ask the elder to think twice, don't waste too much spirit stone on this useless stick method. The words of Hua Yun and Ji Ningshuang made Wu Changqing wake up like a dream, and he was gradually awakened by anger. Rao is so. Wu Changqing's sleeves still clasped his hands, and a cold murderous raged in the cavity. If it was not forbidden to fight privately here, he would have rushed down and shot Yi Feng. Check for me. Wu Changqing took a sigh of relief, and Shengsheng took the anger back. I'll see who is so bold. I want him to die better than he die. A thrilling auction has come to an end. The old man on the stage couldn't help sighing. What the asterisk is this? Yesterday was the broken iron whip, today is this broken stick method, but these two things that Tian Zan men did not like the most, they even sold a price of 500,000 yuan. Rao is his elder, who was expecting. Missed. With a stern finale, Yi Chen patted the Tianyi Club array as he wished. Yes, I lost my family again. Shang shrugged his fat head and stuck it on the table. It seems that he can't find the second uncle to ask for some money, I may God. 300,000, I will bring you interest back in the future. Yi Chen patted Shang shoulder. After hearing that, Shang eyes brightened, and then he took out a pen and paper from the crotch, and Long Fei Fengwu wrote a series of large characters and wiped his nose, which was passed to Yi Chen. Sign it. Quote. By. Chapter 55. Tian Zan Men's Invitation. The auction continues. The mystery of the next auction, although still in full swing, will cause looting every time, but compared to the team of the crickets, it is still a bit worse. Imperceptibly, night has come. Today's auction, this is the end. With the old voice of Yang Jie ringing in the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion, the auction of the mystery of Xuanshu today came to an end. The crowd of people stood up, each screaming, and before leaving, they did not forget to take a look at Yi Chen wearing a wolf head mask. It can be said to be the hottest topic of today's auction. It's a talented person from the Zhongshan generation. The elder white-haired elder of Sichu's family in Chishu glanced at Yi Chen with a beard. Situ, old man, this little baby is much better than when you were younger. An old man in white in Dongyu Shangguan's house laughed. 2 old things will be auctioned tomorrow, and leave a little affection. The middle-aged beautiful woman in a red robe in the Baikuan Wang family glanced angrily at the 2 old men in Sichu's and Shangguan's houses. There are many opinions, and many of the cultivation families will look at Yi Chen when they leave. Boy, you're hot this time. Shang was clearly aware of Chu Hao. When each side looked at Yi Chen, he was caught by him. Creating evil, Yi Chen could not help but rub his eyebrows. On the second floor, the Qingyan sect had already come down. The elder Xing Yi and the old man just glanced at Yi Chen at random, but Lu Ji, who abandoned him, looked at the folding fan lightly, and interlaced with Yi Chen's eyes a bit. Interesting. Lu Ziman's playful abuse. Abandon my Dantian's revenge, find you sooner or later. Looking away at will, Yi Chen could not help clenching his fists. On the same day, Lu Ji was such a mischievous gesture, and he was completely cleaned up. Next is the wind of Hengyu Zong Yu Zhanfang. He really has the style of his predecessors. His dark hair is dense, flowing like a waterfall, carrying a long sword. The whole person's back is tough as a mountain. The temperament of the whole person is like a sharp sword out of the sheath. Looking at Yi Chen's eyes, he is not high, but it's gentle and kind. The people at the bloodthirsty hall also came down, looking at Yi Chen remotely, and frowned. Gao Lao, have you noticed a familiar atmosphere from that boy? The young man in white robe looked at the gray-haired old man beside him. Hidden breath, can't be seen. The gray-haired old man groaned as he stepped out of the Kanglong pavilion first. Pay more attention to him, maybe we have met him somewhere. After the bloodthirsty hall, they are the people of Zhengyangzong. In his eyes, Yi Chen saw Wu Chengqing's extremely gloomy old face. Boy, you will die terribly. Across the distance, Yi Chen could still see Wu Chengqing's murderous eyes. Missing Wu Chengqing's eyes, although Yi Chen was extremely reluctant, but still intertwined with Ji Ningxuang's beautiful eyes. The lovers of the past looked at each other for a moment, so Yi Chengqing couldn't help but hurt. It was Ji Ningxuang, who frowned slightly. It seemed that Yi Chen's eyes felt a familiar feeling, and there were some strange flashes in the beautiful eyes. 2. Yi Chen didn't look anymore, and turned her head. The people who came to the auction retreated one after another, and Yi Chen came to the back hall of the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion. You guys, the scenery is endless today. Yang Ge always talked and laughed. Although Yi Chen wore a special mask covering his face, he seemed to be able to see through Yi Chen's lineup at a glance. Senior made fun. Knowing that Yang Ge was not concealed, Yi Chen took off the mask of the wolf's head and couldn't help but touch the tip of his nose. After handing over the spirit stone, and getting the Tianqi club, he turned and left, but was stopped by Yang Ge. Senior, is there anything else? Yi Chen looked at Yang Ge lazy in doubt. Little guy, would you like to join me in Tianzanmen? He looked at Yi Chen with a smile, and Yang Ge was scratching his white beard. Hearing that, Yi Chen was shocked. Tianzanmen, what kind of existence it is, mysterious and powerful, the 3 ancestors of Dachu Yi Dian, dare not provoke it. At this moment, he will send an invitation to him in a condensed state, which he had never thought of. Shu Shi came too suddenly, making his head a little dizzy. He could be seen by Tian Xuanmen. Is it because of real fire? Yi Chen thought in his heart. In addition to this, he could not think of any other appreciation that could arouse Tian Xuanmen. How's it? Are you interested? Seeing Yi Chen faint, Yang Zhe Lao smiled again. Yi Chen then reacted with a laugh. The seniors have to make fun of the younger. I am a young man with a condensed spirit, how can I get into your old eyes? Cultivation is not a problem, what Tian Xuanmen sees as talent. Yang Ji's old laughter and concubine, like a kind old grandfather, of course, what we see is your true fire, but more importantly your potential. When it comes to this child, Tianzanmen gave his face, and Yi Chen naturally followed. Senior, if I join Tianxuanmen, Does it mean that I will be completely separated from Dachu, and I will not be able to participate in Dachu's affairs in the future? Yi Chen kept his attitude as low as possible, and had the courtesy of the younger generation. People at Tianquanmen shall not participate in the disputes between the major forces of Dachu. This is a rule established by the gatekeepers of all ages. That's it. Shen Chen groaned, and Yi Chen touched his chin. Although Tian Zhan is mysterious and powerful, he has strong binding power. He was born in Dachu and grew up in Dachu. If he completely escapes from Dachu, there will always be a strange and complicated emotion. Moreover, he will fight back to Zhengyang. Zong, the shame of being driven down the mountain that day. Don't have to answer in a hurry, go back and think about it, my words will always count. Seeing Yi Chen groan, Yang Jie smiled a little. In this way, I thanked my seniors, and Rong went back to think about it. Yi Chen arched a gift, then turned and walked out of the hidden pavilion. After he left, the old man in purple who invited him to break the mantra yesterday came out. In the first seat, Dachu's younger generation has more talents than him, so why only invite him? Yang Ge looked at the old man in purple with doubt. Is it because he is really fire? Of course not. The old man in purple drew his beard, with deep meaning in his discourse. This boy is not as simple as the surface. Although his talent is not the highest, it is an alternative, and his true fire is not ordinary overbearing. What matters is his blood. Quote, it is not necessary to ask the Lord for this matter. The old man looked at the old man in purple. I want to find her. The old man in purple said angrily. She was relaxed, she threw Tianquanmen to me, and she fell idle, who knows where she is going crazy now. As soon as Yi Chen walked out of the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion with a mask, he caught two familiar breaths. East is Huayan and west is Jining Shuang. For a moment, I realized who the person who was staring at him was, but on the surface it was pretending to be unaware, and followed the crowd into the noisy street. Along the way, he stopped and stopped, sometimes picking and choosing on the side of the road. The hidden effort of Huayan and Jining Shuang in the dark is pretty good, and they have followed Yi Chen all the way through dozens of streets. Can you follow me? At a street stall, Yi Chen stopped and looked down at the stall. He couldn't help but sneer at the corner of his mouth. I don't want to think about my origin. Having said that, Yi Chen had to mention another identity. In Zhengyangzong, he was not only a disciple, but also a member of the Zhengyangzong Information Cabinet. He was nurtured since he was a child. He often went down the mountain to gather information. His best skill was tracking. As an expert in tracking, his insight is far from comparable. How to deal with the tracking of others is also one of his required courses. Although he is not as good as Huayan and Jining Shuang, when it comes to this tracking, Huayan and Jining Shuang are still far behind. Following a member of the former intelligence pavilion, their behavior is still worse. Still pretending not to know, Yi Chen then led Huayan and Jining Shuang to a dozen streets. When the night fell, Huayan and Jining Shuang met from both east and west, but disappeared Yi Chen. This kid isn't easy, Huayan said coldly, losing people and making him very angry. His cultivation may be better than us. Jining Shuang, who has always been quiet, groaned. But it does not rule out another possibility, that is, he is a member of the intelligence-focused class, and most people can't follow him. Chapter 56, Wu Jian. Yi Chen returned to the inn. Shang'er was already in the room. The whole thing was sitting on the bed, and the bed was full of spirit stones, each one shining. Yo! Seeing this, Yi Chen sat consciously by the bed. Little fat man, there are a lot of spirit stones. Yi Chen said, and he took a few pieces in hand, and consciously shoved them into his arms. Seeing this, Shang'er's chubby little face suddenly darkened. I think your bear family is very rich. On the other side, Yi Chen had to reach out and smooth some spirit stones again, but Shang'er had already prepared, and waved his hands to put a bed of spirit stones into the storage bag. This is just what you asked for from my second uncle. You have less idea. Shang'er cursed and shoved his storage bag into the crotch again. Hearing that, Yi Chen could not help coughing at the tip of his nose. Shang'er really helped a lot in this 2-day auction. Otherwise, the iron whip and the tentacle stick method could not be shot, and Shang'er could help him out, and it moved him. Don't worry, I will pay you back a lot in the future. Of course you have to pay it back, we still have the IOU. Cut. Yi Chen disagreed, then leaned against Shang leaned his fingers against Shang and frowned and asked, I heard that your bear family will gather a lot of spirits every year in that natural spirit stone mine. Is it true? Quote. Hearing this, Shang Ershao's face was full of resentment. Don't mention the spirit stone mine, because of it, my Shang family has not troubled too much, and the spirit stones I have collected are not enough for the people in the clan to use it for medical treatment. Quote. Can't. Yi Chen's face was unbelieving. In addition to the Qi family in Dachu Nanzhong, who dares to mess with your bear family? That's more. Shang cursed and grinned. The Qi family is 5 miles away from the mountain to come to trouble, and those casual repairs, each of them are fed wolf, like the old man in Montenegro who came to the auction, 3 days and 2 things, let's give more. My bear family can't afford it, let's give it less. The evil wolves are restless. If not my grandfather was alive, my bear family would have been annexed. Quote. Every family has a hard-to-read scripture. Yi Chen couldn't help sighing. Don't look at the superficial scenery of the family. Come on slowly. Yi Chen shook his head helplessly, turned and walked out of Shang room. Back in his room, Yi Chen sat cross-legged on the bed. The sacred spirit was condensed, and the method of the wild refining body worked immediately. Click it, click it. Soon, the sound of skeletal collisions erupted in his body. Real fire wrapped the meridian bones throughout his body, and the pain of tearing made him unable to help but growl, but he was afraid to startle Kumaji and was overwhelmed by him. Come down. 3 hours of the barren refining body, and then 3 hours of the spiritual fluid nourished the bones and bones. For a full 6 hours, he exhaled a long spit. Ningqi's 8-fold cultivation has been completely consolidated. Yi Chen only felt refreshed as he twisted his stiff body. Soon, he turned over and took out the club. Hundreds of thousands of spirit stones. Thinking of the price of the shot of the club, Yi Chen couldn't help but feel a little pain, but in order for the tiger baby to have a good stick mystery, he thought it would be worth the extra money. The ancient scrolls of the tentacle club, with a seal, were broken slightly by him. He then carefully realized the mystery of the tentative club by the faint candlelight. I don't know, this benefit him a lot. Sticks are like guns, but they are the 2 most difficult to repair. Among them, Qianshuan stick array not only introduced the mystery of sticks in detail, but also explained many methods. Qianyu stick formation, divided into attack and defense, is a combination of offense and defense, practiced to the end. You can use the stick's virtual shadow to play the formation, is definitely one of the few mysteries in stick mystery. Yi Chen was looking at different colors, and there were no white flowers in the 500,000 spirit stones secretly. After a few hours of enlightenment, he was also able to break the mystery contained in the stick. Although the stick is difficult to repair, once it is cultivated to the end, it is by no means inferior to any spiritual practice. Really good. Thinking to himself, he rolled over and jumped out, then took out a stick from the storage bag. Hum, hum. Soon, a humming sound was heard in the room, and the wind of the long sticks hitting the air continued. In his mind, the methods of the Tiangan club are flowing, and he is also immersed in the mystery of the club. I don't know when he's dancing faster with a stick. But at this moment, with his body as the center, there were ghosts of sticks. Although these sticks were disorganized, if they were carefully observed, they obviously followed the trajectory of the stick dancing. I don't know how long, more and more stick figures, and it seems that a weak stick formation has been formed around him, like a gas mask. At this point, he closed the door and spit out a long breath. The stick's mysterious method is really not difficult to repair in general. Yi Chenfa discovered the practice of the stick with his stick, and Yi Chenfa found that his followers were bitter and incomprehensible, and it is no wonder that many monks were unwilling to repair sticks. However, after some cultivation, he is not without gain. Heavenly Stick Club, you can use the dancing stick shadow to form both offensive and defensive stick array. Then if you use a sword, can you also use the dancing sword shadow to form an offensive and defensive sword array? He sat on the bedside and pondered carefully, hoping that the similarity between the stick and the sword could be found in the tentacle club. If so, he thought that his defense and attack would be greatly enhanced. After an hour of hard thinking, He felt more and more that this method was feasible. Just do it. He jumped up again, and took out the sharp Chixiao sword with a bang. Sword out, sword close, maneuver, oblique split, inverted cut. The tricks he uses are all based on the methods of the Tianya club, which is not fast and slow. A set of moves followed a set of moves, and his brows stretched and tightened from time to time. He found that although sticks and swords do have some similarities, there are also many differences. It is obviously difficult to repair swords with sticks, and he is looking for sticks and swords that work in the same way. Recognize the Tianjian sword formation that is similar to the Tianying club. Ha, ha, the sword of Chixiao continued to beep, and every time he was swung, a sword shadow appeared. The speed of his sword dancing has also accelerated over time. The sword shadows centered on him have gradually increased, but it seems disorganized. Although it only has the prototype of the sword array, its defense and attack strength is too strong. Lo, easily broken and blocked. Towards dawn, Yi Chen closed the Chixiao sword. Call. Another muddy breath was exhaled, and he turned over and jumped onto the bed, holding his back of his head with both hands, and closing his eyes gently, the replay of the stick and the sword of mystery in his mind. It is obviously not a matter of day and night to realize the Tianjian sword formation from the Tianjian club. He knew this very well. The emergence of a mystery did not happen overnight. It took time and practice to hone, just like a blacksmith casts a sword. It takes 1,000 hammers to make a good sword. The world's weapons have their own advantages, but they all share the same goal. I wonder when Yi Chen opened his eyes, and there seemed to be an epiphany in his eyes. The swords, halberds, and hammers and axes have similarities. Since the ancestors can understand the Tianjian club, I can also figure out the Tianjian club. Time is not a problem. What is needed is perception. Chapter 57. TNG Dan. A new day is coming, and the last day of the Nether Black Market auction is coming. It seems that there are more people participating in the auction today than in the previous 2 days. The crowds are full of people with solemn looks. The first day auctioned the magic weapon, the second day auctioned the mysterious method, and the third day auctioned the elixir. Looking at the posture, the elixir auction today is extraordinary. Looking at the crowd, Yi Chen could not help but groan. One sentence. Of course, Shang Eri's eagerness looked like he was in the blood of a chicken. The final masterpiece of today is likely to change the future pattern of Dachu. Such a cow fork. Do you know the heaven? Shang looked over at Yi Chen. Crap. Yi Chen cursed. The monk's sixfold realm, but this celestial realm is the highest cultivation, and a celestial realm can last for thousands of years. That's right. Shang came up mysteriously and whispered, do you know what the elixir of the final auction is here? Hearing that, Yi Chen shook her head gently. Tianji Dan. Tianji Dan. Yi Chen froze. Listening to this meaning can help people break through to heaven. I heard so. Shang answer was ambiguous. There are a lot of people in Dachu, and there are a lot of people who work in the sky, and there are not a few people at the top of the sky, and there are many monks in the quasi-heaven. On that day, if you let the monks in quasi-heaven to take it, it will probably help them to advance to heaven. You say that cattle are not cattle forks. Quote. Hearing Shang words, Yi Chen's eyebrows couldn't help it. If Jingdan really had such a great effect that day, it would be the highlight of the Nether Black Market auction today. It is conceivable that if someone from a faction breaks through to the realm of heaven, it will definitely affect the pattern of Dachu. Shang words are definitely not exaggerated, just because the people who cultivated that day were too powerful. Look, today's auction is absolutely extremely fierce. Shang continued, the ancestors of the major forces, including the ancestors of my Shang family, are not many, and they all want to use this day to sleep. Break through to heaven in one fell swoop. You must know that those who cultivate in the empty realm can live up to 500 years, and those who cultivate in this realm can live to the age of 1,000 years, those who will die. It's not crazy to be crazy. Quote. Having said that, Shang also signaled Yi Chen to look at the many elegant rooms on the second floor representing the major forces. See, today's auction, there are no people in these elegant rooms, and they all hide in Tibetan dragons after Yurong. The crowd on the first floor of the court. Quote. What do you mean? Tianji Dan's relationship is too big, who would be stupid enough to let people see who took it? Shang said, I dare to say that, if today people know that the force that took Tianji Dan is the Bloodthirsty Temple, after the auction, the people of the Bloodthirsty Temple will be chased and killed by many forces. Even if they are not killed, the major forces of Dachu will soon unite and send their troops north to attack the Bloodthirsty Temple. Of course, if San Zong and people from all major families take Tianji Dan, it will have the same consequences. Quote, so, after the auction today, there will inevitably be a ***** battle outside the black market. Yi Chen groaned. This is the theory. Shang nodded. So all the people who come to participate in the auction will do their best to hide their looks and breath, for fear they will be recognized. Is Xuanman auctioning Tianji Dan that day? Isn't this obviously asking Dachu forces to fight? I'm beginning to doubt the motivation of Tian Xuanman's move. People are willing to auction Tianji Dan. It's good to see if you can buy it, if you can bring it back safely, and if you can take it. You haven't forced you to buy it, right? Looking at this situation, the strong men of the major forces should have been hidden from the dark black market. Yi Chen touched his chin. The strong men who come to respond must not be in the minority. You don't seem stupid yet. What's so ridiculous? Aren't we leaving yet? Yi Chen could not help but say, after the major powers scuffle after the auction, most of us will become cannon fodder. Everyone is going to grab Tianji Dan, who will take care of us. Shang didn't take it for granted and saw Yi Chen's solemn look. He also patted Yi Chen's shoulders as a sign of relief. Rest assured that I've been here more than once. Child. Quote. The door of Hidden Dragon Pavilion was closed while talking. At this moment, the tea drinkers and the sister-in-law are all sitting on the board. As Shang said, the elegant rooms on the second floor that represent the major forces are empty, and there is no one at this moment. Yi Chen glanced around the crowd of people, mostly faces, mostly after Yurong. Thinking of this, he could not help but glanced at the dark-haired old man next to him, looked up and down. Maybe next to him is the Zhengyangzong Wu Changqing, or maybe this old man is Hengyuzong Yu Zhanfeng, the appearance of the wind without traces changing appearance. How do I feel that there are pits everywhere? Yi Chen sighed. That's a matter for the strong, we're just some little shrimps. Shang could see it openly, and after that he still whispered, if my Shang family can take it, that's the best. Soon, on the platform in front, Yang Ge slowly walked up. He glanced down first before clearing his throat. Auction, start. Then, he took out a jade box from his arms. Although the jade box is sealed, the people present can still smell the aroma of the elixir overflowing from the gap. Zuguden, I don't think I need to introduce too much about its medicinal effects. The base price of 50,000 yuan, and the price increase must not be less than 1,000 spirit stones each time. Now, the auction will start. 5,000. As soon as Yang's old words fell, someone raised a sign below. 60,000. I have 80,000. As soon as the first elixir was taken out, it caused looting. Today's elixir must be in full swing. After several rounds of auctions, Zhuge Dan was photographed by an old man in Xingyi for 150,000. After Yang's final decision, he took out a sealed jade box again. Shi Sui Dan, the starting price is 50,000 yuan, starting auction. 60,000. What surprised Yi Chen is that the first bid turned out to be Shang next to him. This pair of hands held the sign and raised it high, but no matter how tall he was, it was only so high. Your dad didn't wash your pith. Yi Chen looked at Shang for a moment. I shot it for my daughter-in-law, hee 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 hee. Wow, you have a daughter-in-law, I have never heard you say that. Yi Chen looked up and down Shang a fat Shang, and even found a wife. Really do not know which girl he was arched. 100,000. The two were talking, and the price of Zisui Dan had been sent to the high 100,000. 11,000. Shang slammed the table and jumped up, his voice was so loud. 15,000. The next voice directly made this irritated. You're awesome, I don't want it anymore. Shang was so desperate that he wanted to continue to bid, but he was so shy. Perhaps because the Shang family also had to bid on that day, his second uncle didn't give him much spirit stone. Seeing Shang look downcast, Yi Chen felt a little bit sorry for him. If he borrowed 300,000 yuan, Shang would not be so passive. Naturally, if Shang failed to take pictures of Shu Erden, he would naturally compensate Shang. Healing meridians is not the only thing that Shu Dan can do. He can also do it. Meridian is much better than that. If you can't take it, you won't be able to take it. Your daughter-in-law's washing of the meridians has covered me. Yi Chen laughed. You can do it. That must be done. Yi Chen patted his chest, and it is not impossible to use the wild body for other people. Between the two, another elixir was auctioned below. It was an elixir that kept women young forever. I thought that all the women were bidding. I never thought that a bunch of big masters and a lot of bad old men would have blushed in thick necks. Visually, more than half of this group of women are easy to look at by women. Yi Chen said meaningfully. The auction is continuing. Every time Yange takes out the elixir, it will cause a lot of enthusiasm below, so that the huge Tibetan dragon pavilion seems to be passing by. With the retreat of time, the auction is coming to an end. During this period, Shang shot again and bought the elixir of aphrodisiac. During this period, Yi Chen spent most of his time sleeping, and he could only sleep with no money. In the meantime, there was a miracle, which took a price of 800,000 yuan, and was eventually photographed by an unknown strong man. Chapter 58. Together. It was not until the night was about to come, that the old pavilion pulled out a jade box that was silent and clear from the storage bag. To say that this jade box is indeed precious enough. It is made by Ling Yu. It is full of luster and full of runes. There are even 3 seals on it, so you can see it inside. Quietly lying a purple elixir. Tian Ji Dan. It's Tiandan. Finally wait. Once the jade box was taken out, the eyes of all the people in the room were bright, and each body was sitting straight, staring fiercely at the jade box. Many people's breath was already panting. You must know that the elixir in the jade box is very maybe the panacea to change the future pattern of Dachu. Hurry up, it's Tian Ji Dan. In the corner, Shang stared at the jade box and pushed Yi Chen again. Are you here? Yi Chen Ji Ling raised his head, too late to rub his sleepy eyes, looked at the jade box in the old hands of Niang Pavilion, and could clearly see the purple lingdan in the jade box. Is that Tian Ji Dan? Yi Chen licked his lips. Great. It doesn't seem to be half a dime with us. I can't afford to sell you. In the spotlight, the old jade box containing Yang Jidan's veteran was suspended in midair. Tian Ji Dan may allow people in the paradise to break into the heaven. Of course, it is only possible that whether you can break into the heaven depends on your own good fortune. Briefly introduced, Yange said faintly, Tian Ji Dan, the reserve price is 500,000 yuan, and the price increase must not be less than 10,000 spirit stones. Now, the auction will start. 500,000 spirit stones. At this price, too many people could not help but swallowed subconsciously. If it is not a martial art or a family, who has so many spirit stones, many people have realized that from the beginning, Jidan has no relationship with them for half a dime from the beginning. Just this reserve price has killed a lot. 550,000. However, there are still many people who are rich, and someone will immediately bid for it, and there is no need to introduce that person, because he is after your own, needless to say that he has a deep foundation. 600,000, 800,000. 800,000 want to shoot Tian Ji Dan. I have 1 million. 1.1 million. 1.3 million. When the first person bid for the bid, it seemed to have caused a chain reaction. The entire Tibetan Dragon Pavilion seemed to have exploded, and every time someone cried out for the price, everyone in the room was thrilled. In less than a minute, the price of Tian Ji Dan increased from the base price of 500,000 to over 2 million. 2 million spirit stones can be piled into a small hill. Someone said, and he did not forget to look up, as if he could see the spirit stone mountain he had imagined. Without an 8 million spirit stone, you can't take this day's silence. Yi Chen groaned in the corner. Although the bidders are easy to accommodate, he has a feeling that neither the big family nor the strong men in the martial arts have yet to participate in the auction. In the final analysis, they are the main force of the competition. As Shang said, Tian Ji Dan has a very strong relationship, which is enough to help one faction, and enough to cause one faction to cause havoc. 2.3 million, 2.5 million. Below, Tianji Dan's auction is still fierce, and its price is also rising sharply. After several rounds of auctions, most people were shot dead on the beach. The millions of spirit stones they are proud of are far from enough at this auction. In other words, Tianji Dan, really the auction has just begun. 5 million. Sure enough, there was a huge force in the dark and directly raised the price to 5 million, but the people who had already been fiercely bidding suddenly died down. The big forces in the secret seem to be very transparent. The value of Tianji Dan is too great. It can't be captured by 3 or 4 million spirit stones. It simply allows the decisive battle to come in advance. As for which one of the forces is not allowed, I see. 5 million, that's 5 million. Shang grabbed Yi Chen's retreat, excited to go to heaven. Maybe the bid was made by your bear family, maybe. As he said, Yi Chen's hand was also consciously placed on Shang leg, holding a piece of fat, and then very consciously fierce. After twisting around, maybe Shang was so excited that he never felt pain. The sky-high price of 5 million yuan has already defeated almost everyone at this moment. 5.5 million. Someone raised the price below. 6 million. 6.5 million. As Yi Chen said, it's very difficult to capture Tianji Dan without the 8 million spirit stones. The price has risen to 6.5 million, which is already beyond the capacity of the Dashihia. Du Ent asked. The big family has almost lost. Well, my Shang family is out of play. Shang shook his head. 6.5 million, your bear family should pay it. Yi Chen could not help turning his head. Of course I paid. Shang didn't avoid it. But that means that my Shang family property is almost emptied. Although Tianji Dan is precious, it must be done within its means. Even if it is taken, it may not be safe bring it back. Even if the safety belt is back, my ancestors may find it difficult to break into the sky of silence. Didn't your old man say that? Tianji Dan is not an absolute helper. Can you advance? Everything is unknown, it still depends on the fortune. Quote. Speaking of this, Shang shook his head helplessly. For such an elixir, he went bankrupt. This is a big bet, and my Shang family can't afford to gamble. That's true. Yi Chen groaned. If he wasn't aware of the expensive tea rice, Shang dad considered it well. They could not afford this gamble. Once they lose, the consequences are unthinkable. 7 million. Tianji Dan's auction didn't stop. Martial arts seemed to be involved, which reflected the figures of Sanzong and Bloodlust Palace. 7.5 million. 8 million. However, the price of Tianji Dan is obviously still rising, and it is higher than Yi Chen expected. The auction is coming to an end. The price of Tianji Dan has already climbed to nearly 10 million spirit stones. 9.5 million, but there is still a price increase. After hiding for a long time in the hidden dragon pavilion, the veteran Yang looked around. His eyes were pungent, he seemed to be able to see through the lineup, and ignored those casual repairs, and stopped slightly for a few people. 10 million. Soon, a voice came from the corner, and Yi Chen and Shang could not help but bow their heads, because the person who shouted the price was the dark-haired old man sitting in the seat next to them. Similarly, all the people in the hall also cast their eyes. Dare to bid 10 million, this is by no means the wealth that the monks and the family can have, the bloodthirsty palace and the 3 cases, who dare to put the price 10 million. 3 in 1 temple, which side is he in? Yi Chen glanced at the dark-haired old man. From his perspective, naturally he could not see the origin of the man. The only thing that was certain was that he belonged to one of the 3 sects in a palace. He and Shang now hoped that the dark-haired old man next to him is the wind of Hengyuzong Yu Zhanfang. If that is the case, Tianji Danruo is really brought back by the safety belt and is not recognizable. Heng Yizong, maybe it is possible to have a day of silence. In this way, they are attached to the Heng Yizong, but they are holding a big tree that will not fall for thousands of years. But Shang and Yi Chen also knew that this dark-haired old man is probably also Qingyunzong, Zhengyangzong, and Bloodthirsty Temple. If so, it is not a good thing for their Hengyuzong. The old man with dark hair offered a bid of 10 million, which naturally attracted everyone's attention, and some strong men had been secretly staring at him. 10 million spirit stones, but there is still a price increase. Yang Ji's old voice broke the silence in the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion. It was just that no one spoke for a long time. L.B. With the final determination of Yange, Tianji Dan's auction ended, and the 9th Black Market's triennial auction also meant that it had come to an end. Below, the crowd was still full of thoughts. Soon, 2 and 2 figures started to get up and leave. It wasn't until the dark-haired old man in the corner got up that he really touched the entire Hidden Dragon Pavilion. More than one person secretly looked at the dark-haired old man. They all wanted to know his identity, and even wanted to kill more people and take more goods to steal that day. Looking at the posture, he wanted to take Tianji Dan out safely. It was a bit difficult. Looking around at the figure that kept leaving, Yi Chen groaned secretly. There must be someone outside to answer him. Shang muttered quietly, I think he is a man who is a bloodthirsty palace. In this great Shu power, there are only 3 bloodthirsty palaces. It doesn't matter who it is, let's go. Chapter 59, Quartet Melee. Out of the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion, Yi Chen and Shang consciously followed the crowd and walked outside. Here, get it. Shang handed the 2,000 line charms to Yi Chen, and said, in danger, first use the spell of heaven, then drive away with the 1,000-word charms. Those cruel men are going to grab the silence. Dan, generally, few people rob us. Quote, how do I feel that there is a bad hunch? Yi Chen said as he took the 1,000 line charms. It's okay. Follow me, keep you safe. Shang confident, pulled Yi Chen and walked straight out. Ahead, it is the exit of the Ghost Black Market, and the crowd is pouring out like a tide. Moreover, everyone who comes to the Nether Black Market to participate in the auction also has their own preparations. Most of them use spells similar to the 1,000-line symbols. As soon as they come out of the Nether Black Market, every one of them runs, and the speed is really not covered. Really don't say, these low-level monks ran out, and there was really nothing wrong with it. Yes, Tianji Dan has been filmed, but everyone who is strong wants to try his luck. At this moment, who has the spare time to rob you of the 2 walnuts and jujubes? Go. Immediately after exiting the netherworld, Yi Chen and Shang posted 1,000 lines of charms and went straight to the direction of Heng Yizong. With a kung fu effort, the two have run wild for more than 10 miles. Look, listen to me, that's right. Shang ran away without forgetting to get a chicken leg out of his crotch. Hope you can go back safely. Yi Chen was wary, watching all the way closely. Boom, rumble, soon, there was a roar behind them. A quick glance, they saw a hilltop collapsed with a single palm. It's off. The two glanced back while grasping speed and direction. This shame made Yi Chen shout his tongue. Looking away, the direction of the ghostly black market, the flashing silhouettes in the void, the gorgeous mystery, and the glory of the sky are very lively. Will we go and see the fun? Shang glanced at Yi Chen. Don't talk nonsense. Yi Chen scolded back, it's all ruthless people who are doing dry racks and returning to be cannon fodder. All just talk. Boom. Rumble. As soon as Shang words fell, another hill in the distance collapsed, and his voice was louder than before. It was awkward when the two were surprised. Because of a group of vicious people fighting in the void, they came to them in the direction of fighting, and the number was not a small number. Hit all the way, the void was constantly thundering. Wherever they passed, there were many mountains that collapsed, blood splattered and covered the bright moon with the ***** veil. I'm really afraid of what's coming. Shang shouted, threw the chicken leg directly, and climbed sharply. Yi Chen did not pull back, although the speed of the Qingxingfu was fast, but the gang of fierce people behind the battle was empty. If it was faster, it was more than 10 times faster than them. If someone really stared at them, then is the most nonsense. Sure enough, in the blink of an eye, a rainbow passed through the sky, his body was bloody, and his posture was not injured. Hurry up. Seeing this, Yi Chen and Shang were at full horsepower and ran away frantically. Where to escape? A cold drink came from behind, and more than a dozen figures chased each other. At first, one person held a purple killing sword, and one sword cut out a sword, splitting the previous life into 2. The blood stained the sky, but there was a storage bag falling from the void, beckoned by the man. Why, still want to swallow it alone? The sneer sounded immediately. just beheaded the man, and instantly became the target of the attack. What? The roar was hysterical, and the man was powerful, but it was difficult to stop the dozen or so empty attacks. Boom. Rumble. This land was instantly messy. Let's look at Yi Chen and Shang again. Because of the spread of the melee, they were shocked and flew out. Shang fell to the east, and his fat body broke a dozen large trees before falling heavily to the ground. Yi Chen was even more miserable. His inverted body smashed a boulder into pieces and almost died on the spot. Puff. As soon as he got up, Yi Chen spit out blood. The battle was chaotic. His eyes were blurry, or maybe too far away. He could not find the figure of Shang. Damn! Yi Chen yelled, hiding behind a boulder stumbled, looking pale at the void. In that void, more than a dozen empty Netherlands hid out with a storage bag. Not only that, Shu is the treasure in the storage bag is too extraordinary. God rainbows fly in all directions. Without saying anything, they all joined the fight, the war escalated, and the fight was earth-shattering. It's a bunch of beasts. Yi Chen coughed up blood again, but he didn't dare to stand up, and was recovering his injuries quickly. Puff, puff, one after another, the blood blossoms bloomed in the void, the melee was too fierce, and the two empty realms were slain in the melee. Boom, rumble, there is a constant explosion of thunder in the void, not only here, but also in other directions, and there are wars. People who were sitting in the auction at the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion not long ago. The heat of the fight at the moment is full of war. It's all messed up. Boy, are you still alive? Behind the boulder, the voice note hanging from Yi Chen's waist is shining, and the sound of Shang-Er's ringing inside. Hearing Shang-Er's voice, Yi Chen breathed a little sigh of relief, and gave him a message to prove that Shang-Er was still alive. You stunned, almost killed you. Yi Chen cursed at the note. Accidents are accidents. Shang-Er coughed in the note, hurry up. You shouldn't stay here long. You go west, I go east, let's hang you Zong meet, be careful. You are the same. At last glance at the void, Yi Chen dragged his wounded body, and fled towards the west. A second 1,000-line charm was placed on his leg, and his speed increased sharply. However, it seemed that heaven did not care for him. He had just ran out within 3 or 5 miles, and a buzz came from the void. When you look away, it is a gossip plate. It is definitely a big killer. The whole body is full of dazzling eyes. Strong coercion covers one side of the world. Yi Chen, who has just used the 1,000-line charm, has been stopped by pressure. It's a big game. Yi Chen stood up stiffly, and ran into a mountain. Boom. As soon as he walked in, there was a roar in the void, and a ****** body stumbled across the imperial air. It was the dark-haired old man who photographed Ji Dan that day. Yi Chen recognized the man at a glance, and his look became abnormally dignified. The old man with black hair photographed Ji Dan and must be followed by many strong men. This is not good news, which means that the mountains will soon become the battlefield of many strong men. Sure enough, the dark-haired old man just flew into the sky of total deletion, and behind him, Tianonghong chased. Roar. In the east, the roar of spirit beasts followed, and more than a dozen came to control the beasts. Ha! In the west, a flying sword pierced the void, and a figure stood on each flying sword. The target was obviously the dark-haired old man. Boom. In the south, the clouds rolled and the sky was blasting, and it seemed that thousands of troops came crashing down. Hum. In the north, there is also a constant rainbow of gods, which is extremely fast, with various magical powers and horrible killers suspended above it. All right, there are many strong men killed in the 4 directions of east, west, south, and north. Needless to say, they all came for the quiet day. Chapter 60. Shit. Boom. Rumble. The strong quartet rushed into the mountains without much comment. On the spot, 2 towering high mountains collapsed on the spot. Yi Chen, who was among the mountains, was planted again. Fuck, is it sincere? Yi Chen could not help cursing out of the gravel pile, scolding the dark-haired old man who fled into the mountains, so that he would also suffer disaster. Give up Ji Dan. Li yelled from the void, let Yi Chen Ji Ling hide under a rock wall. I have the ability to take it. The black-haired old man yelled at the sky, the momentum of the sky peaked across the sky, and the gossip plate above his head bloomed again. This is a powerful man, who has already approached the quasi-sky realm. If he fights alone, he is not afraid of anyone here, but he is not facing an empty realm. If he fights like this, the consequences are not difficult to imagine. Look for death. The strong men in all directions moved, and sword shadows, palm prints, and magical artifacts called in the sky. Seeing this, the old man with dark hair moved the gossip plate and quickly became huge to protect himself. Boom, boom. The quartet attacked one after another on the gossip board. Click, boom. 2 successive voices came, and the gossip plate burst on the spot, and the old man with black hair also suffered a backbite, and his body became bloody. "I'll be back," the drunk groaned, and the old man with black hair pointed in the void. Immediately, a vortex emerged and swallowed him. "Want to go?" A fierce big man snorted, moved his sword, chopped off a 5-foot-long sword, and cut off the old man's retreat. The old man with black hair was wounded and fell out of the vortex. Before he could stabilize his figure, the sky attack had already arrived. "What?" The roar soared, and the dark-haired old man's words were full of unwillingness, but he still couldn't escape the end. After letting him die, the storage bag he carried with him also burst, and the contents were scattered in the void, each flashing and falling. TNG Dan. Someone saw the jade box containing TNG Dan, and immediately found out his big hand. Before the man touched the jade box, his arm was severed by a swordman in the oblique side. The jade box became a selfless thing, filled with TNG Dan, which made everyone crazy. The melee became extremely fierce, the blood and rain filled the sky, and the strong in the empty realm frequently fell into the void and turned into a fall. Blood flower. Below, Yi Chen's heart was beating. They are all ruthless people in an empty realm. The scene of the war really pushed the mountain and cracked the ground in an instant, and you can slap one out casually. You can collapse him by farting. At this moment, a light fell into the void, and a closer look was a large knife, which was inserted on the boulder in front of Yi Chen with blood stains on it, and it looked like it was in the dark-haired old man's storage bag. Thing. At this moment, the void is a battle for heaven and heaven, and the war is fierce. Who cares about those treasures scattered? Yi Chen glanced around and pulled out the big knife. The quality of the sword is not low, and the spiritual artifacts collected in the empty realm are naturally not weak. There is a knife on appearing without instilling real energy. There is a mighty power that splits everything, and it is definitely an overbearing and extraordinary spirit. A pleasant surprise. Yi Chen grinned, and shoved the sword into the storage bag. However, at this instant, he glimpsed the big knife, and it was inlaid with an adult nail-sized spirit bead. Yi Chen took a closer look and looked stunned, because there was still a half-purple elixir in the spirit bead. Although it was enclosed in the spirit bead, he could still smell a little scent of elixir. TNG Dan, said subconsciously. Yi Chen's breath suddenly became sharp, because he saw TNG Dan in the Tibetan Dragon Pavilion, and he recognized it at a glance. For a moment, he seemed to understand something. That is, the black-haired old man divided TNG Dan into 2, half of which was sealed with the spirit beads and inlaid on this knife. As for the other half, perhaps only the black-haired old man knew, or he might have been black-haired old man. Perhaps his accomplices were taken away safely. Yi Chen could not help but admire the cautiousness of the old man with dark hair. It was just that he never expected that he would still be stared at, so that he would be blocked here, and he would shed blood on the void. Half of TNG Dan is here. Is there another half of TNG Dan in the jade box they grabbed? Whispered. Yi Chen could not help looking at the void. The strong man in the sky is still fighting blood for the jade box, and the blood is pouring down like rain, and sometimes there is an empty realm. The strong man falls into the void. The tragic scene and the **** picture make Yi Chen's face pale again. Hurriedly received the sword, Yi Chen stumbled towards the mountain. It was God's favor to have half of Tianji Dan, and he had no ambition to fight for the other half. His departure did not attract the attention of many strong men. A condensed state of mind was the ants in their eyes. Their goal was Tianji Dan. Even if Yi Chen was pregnant with treasure, they were too lazy to grab it. After escaping from the mountain, Yi Chen hurriedly took out the Tianxing curse and stuck it on her body. Boom. Rumble. Shortly after he left, the entire mountain shook with a roar, and dozens of mountains collapsed instantly. After that, many Wolverine figures flew out from inside, all gray-faced. "Damn, why is there a 9-day thunderbolt in the jade box?" said a old man coldly. "The jade box is not TNG Dan at all. Someone who had a bad eye seemed to see through some clues. We have all been played, and the real TNG Dan may have been sent away. After playing in the middle of the night, there was nothing. That's all right. TNG Dan doesn't know anyone's hand. Now looking for it is like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's a good calculation." Many strong men gritted their teeth. They never thought that the dark-haired old man would steal the beam and change the pillars, and took away TNG Dan, but put in an explosive 9-day thunderbolt. What? The other half of TNG Dan is missing. At night, a cold voice sounded in a hall. This is what the intelligence said. The 3 elders were blocked by people in the mountains, and all the gods were destroyed, and the half of the TNG Dan that he escorted also did not know where they were going. Asshole. Check me, search the entire Dachu, and also find the half of TNG Dan. I will let them know the end of my bloodthirsty palace. Late at night, Yi Chen dragged his bruised body into a cave. The spiritual fluid was immediately taken out, and after being poured fiercely, the barren refining body immediately operated, repairing the broken bones and meridians in the body. This sitting is day and night. It was late at night the next day, and with a spit of breath, he opened his eyes. At this moment, the scars on his body were gone, his pale complexion became rosy, and his spirit was refreshing. After twisting a little stiff body, he took out the big knife. It cannot help but say that he cut out the inlaid spiritual bead, but did not crush it. This spiritual bead was used to seal a half of Tianjin. Once it was crushed, it took a long time to cure it. Must be lost. It's really good luck to leave the shit. Yi Chen's eyes sparkled, staring at the half of Tianji Dan sealed in the spirit beads. His breath could not help but pant. TNG Dan, this is a real TNG Dan. At the auction, the major powers fought for it, and even sold for $10 million. After the auction, the strong quartet fought for it again, and many strong died because of it. At this moment, half of TNG Dan was holding in his hand, giving Yi Chen an unreal feeling. To know the value of TNG Dan, it is likely to change the future pattern of Dachu. Although TNG Dan in his hand is only half, it is enough to change the fate of too many people. How do I feel that the half of TNG Dan that I hold is related to the future of Dachu? Yi Chen muttered softly after touching his chin. Okay. At this moment, a noise came from outside the cave, making him hurriedly collect TNG Dan, and approached the hole to look out. Seeing this, he could not help but frown. Far away from the cave, he could faintly see a beautiful figure, covering her left shoulder with her right hand, stumbled away. She was not injured lightly, and she was being pursued by her posture. That woman, look closely, isn't it Jining Shuang of Hang Yizong?